You lie back, and in the stillness, the universe opens around you. It does not come as a sudden revelation, not as a jolt or a shock, but as a slow awareness. Nothing in the cosmos is ever truly still. Even in this moment, as you close your eyes and rest, the very ground beneath you is carried by a planet spinning on its axis, circling its star, and drifting through a galaxy that itself is gliding across an ocean of space. Motion is not an interruption to silence. It is the silence itself, stretched across a scale too vast to feel. You imagine yourself looking upward into a night sky. The stars seem fixed, little pinpricks of light unmoving across the darkness. They appear permanent, anchored, eternal. Yet what your eyes see is only the illusion of stillness. Every star you admire, every galaxy that sends its faint light across millions of years, is in motion. Some move toward you, most move away, but all are part of a larger rhythm, a cosmic tide that cannot be reversed. You picture it not as a rushing current, but as a gentle breath. The universe breathes outward, slowly, calmly, endlessly. Galaxies are the lanterns drifting on that breath, carried outward, like seeds caught in a breeze. And you, here, are part of that same motion, though you may not feel the pull in your muscles or hear the sound in your ears. Expansion is silent, it is patient, it is everywhere. In the early days of human thought, people imagined the heavens as fixed. Stars were nailed into the dome of the night sky, planets rolled on hidden wheels, and the cosmos was thought of as a perfect, unchanging clock. But then, bit by bit, humanity learned to listen differently. The light of the stars began to speak in subtle tones, colors shifting, faint lines bending, telling us that galaxies were not steady at all. They were moving apart, and the universe itself was stretching. This discovery was not like waking to sudden thunder. It was more like the slow lifting of a veil, a dawning that reshaped everything quietly. Imagine looking at a painting you've loved your entire life, only to realize the painting itself is expanding, growing larger at its edges, as though the canvas itself were alive. That is the universe you inhabit, not a frozen picture, but a living, breathing unfolding. You let that thought settle. You feel your own chest rise and fall, your own breath filling and releasing, and you begin to sense the connection. Your breathing is not separate from the universe's breathing. Each inhale mirrors the expansion of galaxies. Each exhale is a reminder of how everything flows outward, then rests. The universe expands, and within it, you expand too. When astronomers first measured this expansion, they noticed something profound. The farther away a galaxy was, the faster it seemed to move. This was not the motion of cars racing down a highway or boats crossing a river. It was stranger than that. It was space itself stretching, carrying everything with it. You picture dots drawn on a balloon. As the balloon inflates, the dots move apart, not because they travel across its surface, but because the surface itself grows. That image comforts you. Galaxies are not struggling against each other. They are simply riding the expansion of space itself. You too are on that surface. Your entire world, your entire life is painted on the balloon of the cosmos, carried outward gently, quietly. There is no effort, no resistance. It simply unfolds, moment by moment, and yet you do not feel it. You do not wake to a sensation of stretching. Do not notice your body being tugged in opposite directions. Expansion happens on scales too vast for your senses to measure. It takes millions, even billions of years for galaxies to drift apart far enough to notice. In the span of your life it is imperceptible, and so you live within it without fear, just as a fish swims unaware of the sea's tides. This thought brings a sense of perspective. What you consider motion, walking, traveling, spinning, is only a tiny echo of a much larger journey. Your every step takes place on a planet that circles the sun, on a star that circles the center of the Milky Way, on a galaxy that drifts through the universe's expanding fabric. You are part of all of it. Motion surrounds you, carries you, enfolds you. The stillness you feel in your body is only local. The true stillness is an illusion. When you let yourself rest, you do not step outside motion. You become aware of it in a new way. You rest inside the breathing of the cosmos. Imagine lying in a small boat on a quiet lake. The water seems calm, yet your boat is drifting slowly, carried by a current you cannot see. You do not paddle, you do not resist, and still you move. That is how galaxies move in space. That is how you move, here and now. The stars you see tonight are not where they were when their light began its journey. They have shifted, little by little, in the billions of years it took their light to reach you. The night sky is not a photograph. It is a storybook written over time. Each star is a note in a song that began long ago, still unfolding, still expanding. You rest in that awareness. Expansion is not violent. It is not an explosion rushing outward. It is steady, smooth, like dough rising quietly on a table, like a meadow spreading beneath the dawn. It is not frantic. It is not hurried. It is simply there, unceasing, unending. And in this rhythm of expansion, you find calm. You are not separate from it. You are not watching from the outside. You are woven into the fabric that stretches, into the very motion of the star. The same laws that carry galaxies outward carry the atoms within you. The same unfolding that shapes the cosmos shapes your breath. The universe in motion is not a frightening thing. It is a gentle truth, a reminder that change is written into every level of existence. And as you let that idea cradle you, you begin to drift into a deeper state of rest. Your mind may wander. If the universe is expanding, will it ever stop? Will it continue forever? These questions hover, soft and unanswered, like clouds on the horizon. You need not solve them. It is enough to know the motion is real, enough to rest in its presence. And as you drift further, another thought arrives, quiet but insistent. If the universe itself moves, then what of the galaxies scattered across it? What do they reveal, shining faintly, like lanterns marking the edges of this endless outward journey? You close your eyes and let the universe carry you outward, like a leaf on a slow, endless tide. Ahead, galaxies glow like distant lanterns, each one whispering a secret of the motion you now feel. And as you drift toward them, the question unfolds. What do these lanterns on the horizon truly reveal? You lift your gaze to the night sky. At first it seems quiet, scattered only with points of light, familiar stars, stitched into patterns passed down by human memory. But if you look longer, softer, you begin to see more. The sky is not just dotted with stars, it is filled with lanterns that lie beyond your galaxy. They are faint, almost imperceptible, but they are there. Galaxies, whole islands of stars, floating in the sea of space, glowing like lamps left in the dark. Each one of these lanterns is a city of light, a congregation of billions upon billions of suns. To your eyes they appear as smudges, tiny sparks, small and distant, but their size is vast beyond comprehension. Each galaxy holding within it worlds upon worlds hidden from you by sheer distance. You see only their shimmer, as if you were looking at fireflies across a valley, their details blurred by the miles between. The light you see tonight is not new. It is old, ancient, beyond words. Some of it began its journey when Earth was young, when oceans were still forming, when life had not yet begun to walk the land. That light traveled across billions of years, carried by the expanding universe, until it reached you here, resting beneath the sky. To see a galaxy is to see the past itself, preserved in a flame that never burned out. You let that realization sink in. The stars above you are not only lights, they are time machines. Each one tells you a story from long ago. Every flicker is a memory of a universe younger than the one you inhabit. You are surrounded not just by light, but by history written in beams that have traveled longer than anything else you know. And yet these lanterns carry another secret, one not visible to your eye. Astronomers, watching carefully, noticed something strange about their light. It was stretched, its color shifted toward red, as if the galaxies were slipping away, stretching the light behind them like echoes fading in the air. The further away the galaxy, the stronger the shift. It was not chance, it was a message. You imagine these galaxies as travelers, lanterns in hand, walking away across a dark plain. Each step pulls them farther, and as they move, their voices grow fainter. Their lanterns still glow, but the glow is stretched, softened, pulled longer by distance. This is what astronomers call redshift. And redshift is how you know the universe is not static. It is expanding, and the galaxies are drifting apart, lanterns carried by a current you cannot see. The picture is almost too large to hold in your mind. Millions of galaxies, billions of lanterns, each drifting outward. They do not collide into one another. They do not crash into chaos. They simply recede, as if an invisible breath were carrying them across the horizon. The further they are, the faster they go, like leaves on the edge of a widening stream. You rest in this thought, not with alarm, but with awe. There is a quiet beauty in knowing that every light above you is in motion. The universe is not frozen. It is alive, its lights moving as gently as ships on a midnight sea. In earlier times, people believed the heavens were eternal and fixed, the stars held in place like jewels in a crown. Now you know better. The lanterns are not anchored. They are floating away, quietly, continuously. Their light is proof, a whispered testimony that nothing in the cosmos is still. The truth humbles you. Even with the most powerful telescopes, you see only a fraction of what is there. And still, it is enough to reveal a secret of breathtaking scale. The lanterns show you the nature of the universe itself, a universe that stretches, that carries, that expands. You picture yourself standing at the edge of a dark meadow, lanterns hung far across the field. As the night deepens, they drift away from you, not by your step, not by your will, but because the meadow itself is widening. You cannot chase them, you can only watch and marvel, and rest in the unfolding of space. The galaxies glow not only with their own light, but with the meaning carried in their distance. They tell you something fundamental. The universe is bigger than you can imagine, older than you can count, and stranger than you can fully explain. Yet their glow is gentle, not frightening. It is steady, a reminder that even in expansion there is peace. You let your mind wander with them. If they are drifting away now, where were they long ago? How did they gather their light, their stars, their beauty? The lanterns make you wonder, softly, without demand, without urge. They place a question in your hand, and let you cradle it as you drift towards sleep. You notice something else. These lanterns do not flicker in vain. They are measurable, reliable, like candles whose brightness is known. Some galaxies hold stars that explode as supernovae, flares so bright they shine like cosmic lighthouses. By watching them, astronomers measure distance itself, marking the expansion of the universe with quiet precision. Each flare is a note in a song, each one confirming the outward breath of space. And still, the most important part is not the measurement, it is the feeling. The lanterns remind you that you are part of something unending. You are carried on the same tide that carries them, bound into the same fabric of motion. They drift outward, and so do you, even if you cannot feel the stretch in your skin or your breath. The night becomes softer as you hold this image. Galaxies as lanterns, spread across a horizon you will never reach. Each one glows with a message, written in light. We are moving, drifting, the universe is stretching. And you, small though you may seem, are woven into the same journey. You close your eyes and imagine those lanterns not just above you but surrounding you in every direction, scattered in an ocean without shore. Their glow comforts you, their distance humbles you, their silence invites you to rest. And as you drift deeper, another question forms, gentle and unhurried. If these lanterns are drifting, what force is carrying them outward? What is the hidden hand that turns the night sky into a field of glowing, moving lights? You let the lanterns drift in your mind, glowing softly, carried farther and farther into the dark. And as they recede, you begin to wonder, not with fear, but with quiet curiosity. What hidden presence makes them move? What unseen hand stretches the sky apart? You sit quietly, imagining yourself a century ago, when the universe still seemed smaller, calmer, and far more certain. The night sky above was thought to be the limit of existence. Galaxies, as we now call them, were not fully recognized as separate islands of stars, but mistaken for little clouds inside our own cosmic neighborhood. The universe, many believed, was static, unchanging, eternal, a fixed dome of stars. That illusion of permanence carried comfort. Then came a man with a telescope and a patient eye. Edwin Hubble stood on a mountain in California, turning the great mirror of the Hooker telescope toward the faintest smudges of light. Night after night, he gathered their secrets, not by rushing, but by listening. He let the starlight speak through long hours of observation, through careful notes, through delicate measurements, etched onto glass plates. What Hubble found was not silence, it was motion. Those faint smudges, those so-called nebulae, were not little clouds inside the Milky Way at all. They were galaxies of their own, immense, sprawling collections of stars, each one like our own Milky Way, but far away, separate, distinct. The universe was not a single house, it was a city, a continent, a vast archipelago of worlds without end. You imagine the wonder of that moment. Humanity's home had suddenly expanded beyond imagining. What we once thought was everything turned out to be only one shore among countless islands. In a cosmic sea, you pause with that thought. The discovery that you are not alone, not as a galaxy, not as a world, not even as a star. But Hubble's most startling discovery was not simply that galaxies existed, it was how they moved. As he studied their light, he saw something remarkable. The colors of the galaxies were shifted toward red, stretched out like a... The farther away a galaxy was, the more its light was stretched. And the stretching meant one thing. The galaxies were retreating, moving away, fleeing like lanterns, carried by an unseen current. It was not a gentle accident, it was a pattern, precise and universal. Hubble realized that the universe itself must be expanding. Space was not a still stage upon which stars performed. The stage itself was stretching, carrying the actors apart. You imagine Hubble standing at his telescope, the chill of the mountain air brushing his skin, the dome of stars overhead. He was not looking at chaos, he was looking at rhythm. The farther the galaxies, the faster they moved away. It was not random, it was music, a cosmic score written into the very fabric of space. This discovery reshaped everything. The universe was not eternal and unchanging, it was dynamic, it was alive in time. The cosmos had a history, and by implication, it had a beginning. The stars were not frozen lamps in a ceiling, they were travelers on a current that flowed outward in all directions. You rest in this realization, not with alarm but with calm. There is comfort in knowing that change is not confined to your world, to your life. It is written into the stars themselves. Expansion is not disruption, it is the natural breath of the universe. Hubble's discovery was like opening a window in a dim room and realizing there was no wall outside, only horizon after horizon. What once seemed complete became only the beginning of a larger story. You let that feeling wash over you, the sense that you are always standing at the edge of something greater than you knew. And though Hubble could not know it at the time, his discovery would ripple into every future question about the cosmos. If the universe was expanding, where did it begin? If the galaxies were fleeing, what invisible hand set them in motion? These questions linger, soft as mist, guiding every thought that came after. Tonight you are not asked to answer them, you are only invited to rest inside their wonder. Picture the galaxies again, lanterns drifting away, not chaotically but in harmony, each distance matched with speed, each motion part of a greater unfolding. The universe expands evenly, smoothly, carrying you along with it. Hubble's gentle discovery was not a violent revelation, it was quiet, almost tender. Light stretched, galaxies receded, and the truth emerged softly, like dawn spreading across the sky. The world did not end with this discovery, it only grew. You breathe with it now. Expansion, light stretched thin but still reaching you, still telling its story. You are the listener, the dreamer beneath the stars. You are the one who hears what light has been whispering for billions of years. We are moving, and so are you. You imagine Hubble's notes, careful handwriting on yellowed paper, lines of data that now seem poetic. Each figure, each calculation, was a stanza in the universe's song. From those numbers came a new understanding, that stillness is not the truth, and that motion is everywhere. You drift with the thought. How strange that the vastness of space can be read through such faint signals. How comforting that humanity, fragile and small, can discover truths written in the light of distant galaxies. You feel yourself part of that lineage, not separate from it. You too gaze at the stars. You too carry the wonder of their story. As you close your eyes, the universe does not close with you. It stretches onward, galaxies drifting farther, light lengthening as it travels. Hubble's discovery continues, not just in history but in every night sky you see. You are left with a thought, soft and unhurried. If galaxies drift outward, then what force carries them? What invisible presence stretches the very fabric of space, turning stillness into motion? You drift with Hubble's discovery, carried by the starlight he first traced. The universe feels wider now, more fluid, more alive. And in the widening, a new mystery appears, the hidden hand that moves the galaxies, the quiet force behind the stretch of space. You close your eyes and imagine the universe not as emptiness, but as fabric, a cloth without edges, without seams, stretching in every direction. It does not fray, it does not tear, it simply grows. In this fabric, galaxies are not racing like arrows. They are not flying like birds. They are more like beads, sewn into the cloth itself, carried outward as the material expands. This picture is not only metaphor, it is the truest way to think of space. Galaxies are not speeding away through pre-existing emptiness. Instead, the very stage on which they sit is stretching, gently, endlessly. It is as though you were resting on a patterned blanket, and with each passing moment, the blanket grows larger, carrying its designs farther apart. You do not move relative to the fabric. You are part of it, woven into its threads. You let that image soften inside you. The fabric is smooth, calm, and patient. There is no tearing sound, no strain. Expansion is silent, like the opening of a flower in the dark. You do not hear it, you do not feel it in your body, but across billions of years it reshapes everything. Astronomers explain it this way. The galaxies are not truly fleeing from one another. They are not rushing through space like runners on a train. Instead, space itself grows, and the galaxies ride its stretching surface. This is why, the farther away a galaxy is, the faster it seems to recede. The more cloth there is between you, the more stretching occurs, and the faster distance grows. You rest with this realization. The night sky is not filled with travelers racing outward. It is filled with lanterns held in place, while the ground beneath them expands. Like ink dots on a balloon, galaxies grow farther apart as the balloon swells. No dot is privileged. No one spot is the center. Each point sees every other point moving away, as though the universe were expanding from wherever you stand. It is a humbling thought. You are not at the center, yet you are not at the edge. In truth, there is no center, no edge. Expansion does not begin from one spot. It is everywhere, at once. Wherever you stand, you are part of the stretching. You feel yourself woven into the cloth, carried gently outward. You imagine tracing the threads of this fabric. They are made not of cotton or wool, but of distance and time. Each second is a strand, each stretch a weave. When you look up at the night sky, you see these threads reflected in the light of galaxies, stretched and pulled, carrying the signature of expansion. The beauty of this picture is its calmness. Expansion is not violent, not like an explosion scattering debris. It is smooth, it is patient. Galaxies are not colliding outward. They are separating as space itself makes room. In this image there is peace, as though the cosmos is unfolding a great blanket to cover itself. And you are on that blanket. Your planet, your star, your galaxy, each one is sewn into the weave. You cannot jump free of it. You cannot step off it. The universe carries you as naturally as it carries the stars, with no distinction, no resistance. You are part of the design. You breathe slowly, and in your breath, you feel a reflection of this stretch. Each inhale expands your chest. Each exhale releases. The fabric of the universe stretches in a similar rhythm, though on scales and times far beyond your own. But still the mirror is there. Your body expands with air. The cosmos expands with space itself. This fabric does not stretch evenly in every moment. Sometimes it stretches faster, sometimes slower. In the early universe, gravity pulled back, trying to hold galaxies close. But over time, expansion proved stronger, stretching space more and more. The balance between closeness and distance is written into the very threads of this cloth. You hold that balance in your mind. Gravity pulls together, expansion pushes apart. The universe is the result of this quiet dialogue, this eternal conversation between two forces. Without expansion, galaxies would collapse inward. Without gravity, galaxies would scatter too far to ever form. It is the interplay of the two that gives you the stars above, the galaxies afar, the fabric itself. And so, as you rest tonight, you can picture yourself lying not on a bed, but on this cosmic cloth, Beneath you invisible threads stretch outward. Around you galaxies ride the weave. Above you light is stretched, colors redshifted, evidence of the cloth expansion written into the star. You are not outside this process. You are in it, carried as gently as a petal on a breeze. It may comfort you to know the fabric does not need your attention. It does not depend on your effort. It stretches whether you are aware of it or not. You can let go into its rhythm, trusting that you are part of a design that expands beyond your sight. As you drift with this thought, you may wonder, if the fabric stretches, what is it stretching into? The answer is subtle. Space is not expanding into emptiness. The expansion is the creation of more space itself. There is no outside. The fabric does not need a surrounding void. It is complete, stretching in its own right, needing no container. This can be hard to imagine, but you need not struggle. You can rest in the metaphor, the blanket beneath you growing. Not into a larger room, but simply into more blanket. You do not need to ask where it ends. It is enough to know the stretching continues, softly, steadily, without pause. You return once more to your breath. Inhale, exhale, expansion, release. You are part of the same rhythm. And in the quiet of this rhythm, another thought rises. If space stretches, what invisible presence fuels its stretching? What hidden force allows the fabric to grow, not slower, but faster with time? You feel the threads of the cosmic fabric beneath you, steady and calm, carrying galaxies outward. The universe stretches without hurry, without end, weaving time and distance together. And as you rest within its rhythm, a gentle question lingers. What hidden force breathes into this fabric, urging it to expand ever faster? You imagine the universe as a vast, dark cathedral, stretching far beyond sight. Inside it, scattered across its aisles, tiny flames appear. They flare, they brighten, and they fade. These are supernovae, the explosions of dying stars, flashes so powerful, they briefly outshine entire galaxies. To astronomers, they are not only dramatic events, they are tools, markers, candles placed along the path of expansion. You rest with this image. Each supernova as a candle lit in the dark. Though fragile, though fleeting, its glow is measurable, consistent. By studying how bright it appears from Earth, astronomers can calculate its distance. A candle close to you blazes with intensity. A candle far away seems dimmer, fainter, though it burns with the same fire. In this way, supernovae become cosmic yardsticks, measuring rods stretched across unimaginable distances. You drift with the thought. For most of history, distance in the universe was a mystery, guessed at through rough comparisons, imagined but not proven. Then came these candles, stars exploding billions of light years away, yet shining with a reliable brightness. With them, the cosmos began to reveal, not just its shape, but its pace. Astronomers watched carefully. They compared candle after candle, supernova after supernova, mapping how far away each flame truly was. And when they aligned these measurements with the redshift of galaxies, the stretching of their light, they expected a steady pattern. Expansion should be slowing, they thought, tugged back by gravity, by the mutual pull of all matter. But what they found instead was startling. The candles did not mark a slowing universe, they marked an accelerating one. The further the candles, the faster their galaxies flared. The expansion was not coasting gently into stillness, it was quickening, as though the fabric of space had found a hidden breath, a push growing stronger with time. You pause here, imagining it. Not only is the universe expanding, but it is doing so with increasing speed. The lanterns of galaxies are not drifting like boats on a calm river. They are caught in a current that flows faster and faster, carrying them away into the dark. The fragile glow of supernovae, lasting only weeks in their brilliance, became proof of a cosmic truth that reshaped everything. The universe is not only alive in time, but restless, stretching with acceleration. You linger on this paradox. The briefest events, the deaths of stars, became the guides to the grandest story. The flicker of a single candle revealed the fate of billions of galaxies. In your mind you stand again in that cathedral of night. Between the pillars of darkness, candles are scattered, some close, some impossibly far. You walk slowly through it, seeing their glow, feeling their message. Each candle says the universe is growing, and it grows faster than before. The wonder of this discovery is not only in its scale, but in its quietness. No sound accompanies a supernova's light reaching you. No vibration shakes your skin, only the faint arrival of ancient photons, carrying secrets across eons. You are the listener, you are the witness. The candle was lit long before you, but it was waiting to tell its story. Astronomers call these particular supernovae standard candles, because their brightness is so predictable that they can be trusted. Like lighthouses along a coast, their beams allow travelers to measure distance across a dark, featureless sea. You rest with this metaphor, the universe as an ocean, galaxies as ships, and supernovae as lighthouses that briefly blaze to mark where you are. And the message of these lighthouses was extraordinary. Some unseen force was driving the cosmos apart. Galaxies were not simply obeying the memory of a great beginning. They were pushed, urged, compelled outward by something hidden. This discovery earned the scientists who revealed it a Nobel Prize. But the greater prize was the mystery itself, the naming of dark energy. You let that name settle inside you. Dark energy. It is not darkness you should fear, but darkness you cannot yet see, energy you cannot yet touch. And yet its signature is there, written in the candles of the sky. You take comfort in this. The universe reveals itself through light, even when the truth it shows is hidden in shadow. You need not grasp it fully to rest in its rhythm. It is enough to picture the candles glowing, marking milestones across cosmic distance, proof that the expansion is not slowing, but accelerating. Inhale, exhale. You feel the rhythm again. Your breath rises and falls, steady. But the universe's breath is different. It rises, and rises faster, each expansion more hurried than the last. You are small within it, yet you are part of it. As you close your eyes, you imagine yourself holding one of these fragile candles. Its flame is bright but delicate, flickering with the weight of a star's death. You know it will fade, but you also know its story is already carried outward, written into the stretching of space. Nothing is wasted. Every flare, every spark, every candle becomes part of the measure of all things. You rest with that thought. The brief can illuminate the eternal. The fragile can reveal the infinite. And so you drift, surrounded by candles that glow and fade, each one a milestone in the journey outward. You do not need to know their exact distances or their measured equations. You only need to let their image comfort you. The cathedral of night, the candles burning softly, guiding you deeper into stillness. But a question stirs gently, not urgent, not harsh. What is this hidden force that accelerates the expansion? If candles have revealed its presence, what name, what meaning can you give to this invisible breath that pushes the galaxies farther apart? You let the image of the candles settle in your mind, glowing and fading, marking the rhythm of the cosmos. They show you acceleration, a universe pulled by something unseen. And as their light dims, you find yourself wondering, what is this hidden hand? This mysterious energy that urges the universe to expand faster still. You sit with the image of galaxies drifting away, their light stretched, their distance growing. The candles of the dark have revealed a truth. The expansion is not slowing, but quickening. Something unseen is pushing, urging, carrying space itself outward. That push has a name: dark energy. The name sounds mysterious, but it is not meant to solve the riddle. It is only a label, a placeholder for the unknown. It tells you that scientists have glimpsed the effect, but not the cause. They have seen galaxies accelerate, but not the hand that nudges them. The phrase dark energy is a gentle admission. We do not yet understand. You let that honesty comfort you. So often knowledge is spoken as certainty. Here it is spoken as mystery, and sometimes mystery is a softer place to rest than answers. You do not need to grasp the full mechanism to feel the presence of the hidden force. You can close your eyes and imagine it not as something foreign, but as a tide flowing quietly through the fabric of existence. This hidden force is not like the forces you know. It is not gravity, pulling things together. It is not light, carrying warmth and brightness. It is not the strong bonds that hold atoms, nor the weak interactions inside a nucleus. Dark energy belongs to none of these families. It is something different, something that does not pull or bind, but pushes, a quiet pressure that drives the cosmos outward. Imagine standing in a meadow at dusk. The air feels still, yet slowly, almost imperceptibly, a breeze begins to move. It is not fierce, not rushing, it simply surrounds you, brushes your skin, guides the grass into a soft sway. That is how dark energy works. You do not see it, you cannot hold it, but its touch is everywhere, in every galaxy, in every stretch of sky. Astronomers estimate that nearly 70% of the universe is made of this hidden energy, more than stars, more than dust, more than all the galaxies combined. The cosmos you see, the glowing points, the swirling clusters, makes up only a small fraction. The rest is the unseen, and yet the unseen is not emptiness, it is presence, it is influence, it is the gentle force that has been shaping everything all along. You breathe slowly as you imagine it, a universe where the majority is invisible, not because it hides, but because your senses cannot yet touch it. Dark energy does not shimmer, it does not burn, it does not weigh, and yet it bends the future, changing how the universe will unfold. Some think of it as energy woven into the very fabric of space, as though emptiness itself is not empty, but alive with a subtle pulse, a quiet hum. Wherever there is space, there is dark energy. No void is free of it. It is not placed here or there. It is everywhere, evenly spread, filling the gaps between galaxies and stars. You may picture it as the breath of the cosmos. Each moment it exhales, the galaxies drift farther. Each moment the fabric stretches wide. There is no inhale, no pause, only the steady outbreath of space itself, never rushing, never stopping. Others imagine it differently, as a field, a presence layered over all of space, swaying like tall grass under invisible wind. Some imagine it as a property of vacuum itself, the simplest state of existence holding the most profound secret. However it is pictured, the truth is the same. It is unseen, and it is everywhere. You linger on the comfort of this thought. The universe is not built only on what you see, it is built on what you cannot see too. You are not excluded from it, you are within it. The same hidden force that carries galaxies also carries you. You may not feel it, but you are wrapped inside its reach, a passenger on the cosmic tide. It can be strange to rest in so much uncertainty, to know that most of the universe is invisible, unnamed, unknown, yet the strangeness is gentle. The unknown is not an enemy, it is an invitation. It says you do not have to know everything to belong here. You do not have to see everything to be part of the whole. So you rest with the unknown, as though lying back on water, supported by something unseen. You let go of effort, let go of explanation. You float on the tide of dark energy, carried across the fabric of time. You imagine again the lanterns of galaxies on the horizon. Their distance grows, not because they move on their own, but because dark energy stretches the cloth beneath them. The hand you cannot see is the hand that carries them. It is not a violent gesture, it is not a shove, it is an open palm, a breath that widens everything around it. This hidden force is not a puzzle you must solve tonight, it is a rhythm you can simply feel. Galaxies accelerate because the universe breathes outward. Space grows because dark energy whispers it wider. You are not asked to define it. You are only asked to rest within it. And so, as you drift deeper, you realize that the presence of dark energy is not just a fact about the universe. It is a lesson about your own life. There will always be forces you cannot name, influences you cannot see, currents that carry you forward without your effort. Sometimes the greatest wisdom is to allow yourself to float, trusting the hidden tide. You let that lesson soften inside you. Dark energy is a mystery, and yet it is also a comfort. It says, not everything must be visible to be real. Not everything must be explained to be true. And in that soft space of wonder, another thought rises. If dark energy pushes outward, and gravity pulls inward, then how do the two dance together? What balance do they strike in shaping the fate of the universe? You drift in the presence of the hidden force, unseen but everywhere, carrying galaxies outward. It is not a storm, not a roar, but a quiet breath, spread across all of space. And as you rest within it, you wonder softly, how does this gentle push meet gravity's pull, and what story do they weave together? You rest with the thought of dark energy, an unseen breath that pushes galaxies apart. Yet in the same universe, another presence moves quietly, one you already know well, gravity. It is not hidden, it is not mysterious in the same way. It is the gentle tug that keeps your feet on the ground, the invisible thread that ties the moon to Earth, Earth to the sun, and the sun to the Milky Way. Gravity is often imagined as a stern force, strong and demanding, pulling everything inward. But tonight you think of it differently. You feel it as a soft embrace, a tender pull that gathers, that holds, that keeps the cosmos from dissolving into chaos. Without gravity, there would be no stars, no planets, no galaxies. The universe would be only scattered dust, adrift without form. It is gravity that encourages closeness, that whispers to matter, come together, stay near. You imagine dust clouds in deep space, drifting alone until gravity begins its work. Slowly, softly, particles fall toward each other, gathering in delicate spirals, forming clumps, then spheres. In time, stars are born from this embrace, igniting into light. Around them, planets take shape, circling faithfully. Whole galaxies arise from this same pull, their billions of stars bound together in sweeping arcs. You realize that every familiar thing, the ground you stand on, the breath you take, the starlight above, is possible only because of gravity's embrace. It is not a harsh master, but a constant presence. It holds without squeezing, it anchors without smothering. Like a hand resting gently on your shoulder, it reassures you you belong here. Yet gravity is not the only presence shaping the universe. Dark energy pushes outward, encouraging distance, while gravity pulls inward, seeking closeness. The two are opposites, but not in anger. They are not enemies locked in battle. They are partners in a quiet conversation, weaving the story of the cosmos together. You sit inside this balance. Without gravity, dark energy would scatter galaxies into emptiness too quickly. Without dark energy, gravity would pull everything back into collapse. Together, they create a universe that expands, but not too fast to erase its beauty. Stars can form, planets can orbit, life can emerge. You rest in this delicate balance, feeling its truth in your very bones. Think of your own life. There are forces that hold you close: family, friendship, memory. There are forces that push you outward: change, growth, discovery. Both are needed. Without closeness, you would never feel safe. Without distance, you would never move forward. The cosmos mirrors this truth. Gravity is closeness, dark energy is distance. Together, they shape not only galaxies, but the rhythm of your own story. You picture the tug of war in simple terms. A cluster of galaxies gathers under gravity's pull, bound together in a family. Yet beyond that cluster, the space between clusters grows larger, stretched by dark energy. On the small scale, gravity wins. On the largest scale, dark energy takes over. The result is a universe both structured and expanding, both intimate and infinite. You let that duality comfort you. Life too is made of opposites. The universe does not choose one over the other. It lets them coexist, weaving meaning from their tension. Astronomers once wondered which would prevail. Would gravity's embrace eventually halt expansion, pulling everything back into a grand collapse? Or would dark energy prove stronger, carrying galaxies apart forever? For now the evidence leans toward expansion, an outward drift that will not stop. But even if dark energy dominates, gravity still works its quiet miracles, shaping stars and planets along the way. You breathe slowly, feeling that embrace in your own body, your weight on the bed, your pulse steady in your chest, the knowledge that gravity holds you as surely as it holds the stars. At the same time, you imagine the outward breath of dark energy, pulling gently on the fabric of space. You live between these forces, suspended in their balance. The more you think of it, the more poetic it feels. Gravity is the lover that gathers, the embrace that creates homes and hearths in the stars. Dark energy is the wanderer, urging distance, seeking new horizons. Together, they weave a universe that is both intimate and endless. You return to the image of galaxies. Each one is a family of stars, held together by gravity's embrace. Yet families of galaxies drift apart, pulled by dark energy's outward push. Closeness and distance, holding and letting go, written across the cosmos. You wonder softly which is more important, the pull that binds, or the push that frees. Perhaps the answer is neither. Perhaps it is the balance, the conversation, the dance between the two. Without gravity, there would be no stars to light the dark. Without dark energy, there would be no expansion to stretch the stage. Each needs the other. As you drift deeper, you begin to notice how these cosmic truths echo in your own life. Times of closeness, when you are held. Times of distance, when you are stretched. Times of belonging, times of wandering. Neither is final, neither is wrong. Together, they make you whole. The cosmos is not made by one force alone. It is shaped by conversation, by the embrace of gravity, and the release of dark energy. You rest inside that balance now, not needing to resolve it, only to breathe with it. And as you breathe, another thought rises. If gravity gathers, and dark energy expands, what happens when expansion is not steady, but accelerates? What story unfolds when the outward breath of the universe grows stronger with time? You rest inside gravity's soft embrace, held by the same force that binds the stars. Yet beyond that closeness, you sense the outward tide growing faster, always present, and you wonder, quietly, what does it mean that the universe's expansion is not steady but accelerating? You close your eyes and imagine the universe breathing outward. You have seen it stretch like fabric, carrying galaxies apart as quietly as a blanket being unfolded. At first you might think that this stretching would slow with time. Gravity tugs, matter gathers, and the closeness of stars and galaxies should resist the pull of expansion. For a long while, scientists believed this to be true, that the cosmos would one day ease its outward breath, perhaps even fall back inward. But the candles in the dark told a different story. Those fragile supernovae, glowing as lighthouses across the sea of night, revealed something more profound. The expansion was not slowing. It was speeding up. This realization is strange, almost dreamlike. You picture galaxies as lanterns drifting down a river. At first the current is steady, calm, predictable. But with each bend of the river, the water quickens, carrying the lanterns farther apart, faster than before. That is what the universe is doing, not coasting into stillness, but flowing ever more swiftly into distance. You let that image linger. Galaxies are not merely separating, they are accelerating, racing into horizons that grow unreachable. The farther they are, the faster they flee. Some are already slipping away, so quickly that even their light will never reach you. They move beyond communication, beyond connection, like ships vanishing over a horizon they will never return from. This thought could feel lonely, but tonight you let it feel serene. The acceleration is not a rupture, not a storm, it is the deepening of a rhythm already present. Like the swell of a tide, it grows without violence, carrying the galaxies into new distances. It is a current you cannot stop, but one you can float upon, knowing you are part of its flow. You wonder why the universe should accelerate. What unseen presence could urge it to move faster instead of slower? The answer is still a mystery. Astronomers give it the name dark energy. Yet the name is not the explanation. It is only a reminder that something hidden pushes the fabric of space, not only stretching it, but urging it to stretch more and more. You breathe slowly, and in your breath, you sense the echo. With each inhale, your chest expands. With each exhale, it settles. But imagine if each breath became larger than the one before. Each inhale wider, each release stretching farther. That is the rhythm of the cosmos. Each expansion greater than the last. A breath that grows stronger with time. An inhale without end. On the largest scales, dark energy now rules the story. Galaxies may cling together locally, under gravity's embrace. Clusters still form, stars still orbit, planets still circle suns. But across the vast cosmic stage, it is dark energy that guides the play. It pushes the curtains wider, speeds the motion of galaxies, accelerates the rhythm of forever. You find yourself drifting into this thought. The universe will never return to what it was. The galaxies will not gather into one collapse. Instead, they will continue outward, faster and faster, until only the closest companions remain visible. One day, distant galaxies will fade from every night sky, carried beyond reach, their light stretched into invisibility. The cosmos will appear quieter, emptier, more solitary, and yet, even then, it will still be unfolding, still accelerating, still drifting outward. You do not need to fear this distant future. It will come on scales longer than your life, longer than humanity, longer than the earth itself. Billions upon billions of years will pass before the sky grows so bare. For now the stars shine. For now the galaxies glow. For now the universe continues its expansion with you inside it, safe and small, a passenger on its widening stream. You imagine yourself floating on that stream. Around you galaxies drift like leaves on water. Some are near, some impossibly far. You do not need to row. You do not need to resist. The current carries you gently, steadily, without demand. The stream widens and you widen with it. The acceleration is not your burden, it is your cradle. Astronomers measure this acceleration with precision, using light as their guide. But tonight you need no numbers. Tonight it is enough to rest with the picture. Galaxies carried outward, faster with each passing age, as if space itself has chosen to grow without end. The details of why may remain mysterious, but the feeling of it is simple. You are drifting outward on a tide that never recedes. Think again of the tide at the shore. At first the waves rise gently, then stronger, pulling the water higher upon the sand. So too does the universe rise, not in waves of water but in the swell of space itself. You stand at the shore of time, watching the water climb, not hurried, not violent, but inevitable. You let this inevitability comfort you. There are things in life that are uncertain, fragile, fleeting, but the acceleration of the universe is not fragile. It is woven into the deepest rhythm of existence. You may not see its movement in your daily life, but you can rest in its constancy. It is always there, always carrying you, always unfolding the horizon. And as you rest deeper into the thought, you find another reflection stirring. If acceleration continues, if galaxies flee faster with each passing age, what does this mean for the story of the cosmos? Does it lead to emptiness, to silence, to a night without stars? Or does it carry within it possibilities you cannot yet imagine? You are not asked to answer. You are only asked to wonder, to let the question lie beside you like a companion, quiet and patient. You drift with the accelerating tide, galaxies fleeing faster, horizons widening without end. The universe breathes outward, each moment larger than the last, and you are left with a gentle question. What echoes of the beginning still linger in this ever-quickening expansion? You drift deeper into the story of expansion, galaxies fleeing faster, the tide of forever rise. And then, softly, you turn your attention backward, into the earliest memory the universe carries, not written in books, not carved in stone, but stretched across the sky itself, the faint echo of creation. Close your eyes and imagine silence, complete and unbroken. Then imagine beneath that silence, a hum, so soft you can barely notice it, yet present everywhere. This hum is not sound, though it feels like a song. It is light, ancient, cooled, stretched thin by billions of years. Scientists call it the cosmic microwave background. You can think of it as the afterglow of the Big Bang, still lingering in every direction you look. You rest with the thought, everywhere you turn, the echo of creation surrounds you. It is not concentrated in one spot, not hidden in one corner. It fills the whole sky evenly, a veil of light invisible to your eyes, but captured by instruments that listen in microwaves, those faintest ripples of energy. The story begins 13 billion years ago, when the universe was a hot, dense sea of particles, glowing with fierce energy. In those first moments, everything was light and motion, heat and density. But as the universe expanded, at last, atoms could form, light could travel freely, and the cosmos released its first breath of transparency. That breath still lingers today, stretched into microwaves by the growth of space. You imagine it like a lullaby sung at the moment of birth, still echoing softly in the nursery of the universe. Even now, billions of years later, the song has not ended. It is fainter, gentler, woven into the silence, but still present, everywhere. Scientists first discovered it by accident. Two engineers working with a radio antenna in the 1960s heard a hiss, a static that would not go away. They cleaned their equipment, adjusted their settings, even removed nests of pigeons living in the antenna's horn. But still, the hiss remained. Only later did they realize what they had found. The whisper, of the Big Bang itself, a soundless song of light, older than stars, older than galaxies, older than any form we know. You rest with this discovery, feeling its humility. The greatest clue to the birth of the universe was not uncovered by a grand observatory at first, but stumbled upon by ears tuned to static. The cosmos speaks in the faintest of whispers, waiting for us to listen. The patterns in this background are not random, they carry within them the seeds of everything to come. Tiny ripples in the glow, slightly denser spots, slightly lighter ones, became the foundation for galaxies, stars and planets. The grand structures of the cosmos were foreshadowed in those faint variations. From small differences, vast beauty grew. And within this background, scientists also find the traces of dark energy. By studying how the echoes spread, how the ripples stretched across billions of years, they learned that the universe's expansion does not match the pull of gravity alone. Something else is woven into the song, urging the fabric outward, accelerating its rhythm. Even in the oldest light, the whisper of dark energy is present. You linger in this image, a universe carrying its own memory, reminding you with every echo that it has a past, a beginning, a story etched in light, and you, here tonight, are part of that story. You rest beneath a sky still glowing with its first breath. Think of it as lying beneath a great ocean, hearing the soft roar of waves in the distance. That roar began long ago, but it has not stopped. The water carries it endlessly, wrapping you in its sound. So too does the universe carry the afterglow of its birth, humming softly through space, never silent. You may not hear it with your ears, but instruments can. They paint the sky in colors invisible to you, mapping its tiny variation. The result is like a baby picture of the universe, an image of creation itself, captured not in ink, but in microwaves. That picture shows not just what was, but what would be, the birthmarks of galaxies, the first hints of the fabric that would grow into stars, clusters and light. You pause here, letting the thought settle. Even the universe remembers where it came from. Its memory is written in light, carried across time, waiting for you to lean into it. And as you lean closer, you find comfort in this echo. For if the universe remembers, then perhaps memory itself is woven into the fabric of existence. Your own memories, faint but present, are echoes too. They drift, they fade, yet they shape what you are. The cosmos holds its first memory, and you hold you. Both are quiet, both are powerful, both last beyond the moment they were made. You drift further, imagining yourself wrapped in this ancient glow. It does not burn, it does not blind, it is soft, like the faint warmth of embers that refuse to die. The cosmic microwave background is not only data, it is comfort, a gentle reminder that you belong to a story much older than yourself. The galaxies may flee faster with time, the expansion may accelerate into forever, but beneath it all, the echo of creation remains. It is the constant hum, the background song, the memory of beginning. You do not need to grasp the equations that describe it. You only need to feel it as a cradle of soundless light that holds you even now. And as you rest in that cradle, another thought stirs gently. If the universe remembers its birth, what might it dream of its future? What whispers lie ahead, waiting in the silence, to tell the story of what will come? You rest within the soft echo of creation, wrapped in a glow older than stars. The universe hums quietly, carrying its memory across every horizon. And as you drift with it, you wonder softly, if the cosmos remembers its beginning, what dreams might it hold of its future? You imagine a chalkboard in a quiet lecture hall, its surface already dusted white from countless attempts to capture the universe in symbols. A hand moves across it, steady and patient, drawing lines, curves, letters and numbers. To most they look like strange markings, abstract and distant. But to physicists, these are not random scratches. They are verses in a language designed to speak to the cosmos. Equations are not only tools, they are metaphors written in mathematics, attempts to condense vast mysteries into simple shapes. One side balances the other. A symbol stands in for a truth too big to hold. Just as poetry can reveal more than ordinary speech, equations reveal truths that words alone cannot reach. You rest with this thought that the universe speaks in patterns, and humans in turn respond with patterns of their own. Equations become mirrors, not of the visible, but of the invisible. They reach toward the hidden force you have been following, the quiet presence of dark energy. One equation, drawn more than a century ago by Einstein, introduced something called the cosmological constant. At first it was only a curiosity, a term added to balance the equations of gravity, to allow for a static universe. Einstein later called it his greatest blunder, because the universe was discovered not to be static at all, but expanding, and yet decades later, that same constant returned, resurrected, as the simplest way to describe dark energy, a steady pressure, woven into the fabric of space itself. You let the irony comfort you. Even great minds stumble, and sometimes their stumbles reveal deeper truths. What once seemed a mistake became perhaps a clue. The cosmological constant may be the simplest expression of dark energy, space itself filled with energy, pushing outward with quiet persistence. Think of it as a line of poetry, left unfinished. At first it seems awkward, misplaced. Later you realize it holds a rhythm that fits the song all along. The constant is like that, an unfinished verse, a fragment that grows into meaning over time. Other physicists imagine dark energy differently, not as a constant, but as something dynamic, a field changing with time, subtle and ghostly. They draw equations that allow it to sway, to fluctuate, to evolve. Their chalkboards are filled with possibilities, symbols that bend and shift, searching for the form of the hidden force. To you, these equations might seem like riddles, but their essence is simple. They are like sketches of waves, lines drawn to echo the motion of water. No symbol is the water itself, yet the line captures its rhythm. In the same way, equations capture the rhythm of expansion. They are sketches of forever. You breathe in slowly, letting yourself picture these chalkboards, covered in delicate lines of thought. They are not coal, they are not lifeless. They are human attempts to speak to the infinite, as humble and as heartfelt as poems written in the margins of time. And just like poetry, equations do not always give answers. They leave spaces for interpretation. They suggest, they point, they invite imagination. The cosmological constant, the idea of quintessence, the notion of vacuum energy, each is a different stanza, a verse in the song of dark energy, unfinished but soothing. You linger in this comfort. The universe is not a riddle to be solved quickly. It is a story to be told slowly, each equation a line, each discovery a pause between verses. You do not need to memorize the symbols. You only need to feel the rhythm behind them. The rhythm of curiosity, the rhythm of wonder, the rhythm of the hidden force, still unfold. Think of equations as constellations. Each symbol is a star, meaningless alone, but when placed in pattern, it reveals an image, a story. The constellation is not the sky itself. It is a way to navigate, a way to remember. So too are equations, constellations drawn on the chalkboard of thought, helping humans navigate the dark. You imagine a physicist pausing after hours of work, chalk resting in hand, eyes staring not at the board but through it, into space itself. The equation is not just calculation, it is meditation, a way of sitting with the unknown, of holding it gently in the palm of thought. You can do the same. You may not know the symbols, but you know the feeling. To wonder without rushing, to hold mystery without breaking it, to rest in questions the way you rest in silence. That is what the equations are for. They are invitations, not demands, and so you find peace in letting them remain unfinished. Dark energy is not yet explained. Its symbols are still provisional, placeholders for truths we cannot yet fully grasp. But like an unfinished poem, the beauty lies not only in the answers but in the waiting, in the pauses, in the spaces left open. You drift with this thought, that science too has its poetry. Equations are its verses, chalkboards are its pages, the cosmos is its muse, and you, listening tonight, are part of that poem. As you rest, you may notice how this mirrors your own life. There are things you can name, and things you can't. There are patterns you can measure, and mysteries you cannot resolve. You carry both, and in carrying both, you are whole. The poem of your life is unfinished, and that is its beauty. You breathe again, feeling the rhythm of expansion, of equations written like lines of verse. Numbers are not separate from you. They are part of the same story, reaching toward what lies beyond sight. And as you drift deeper, another thought arises. If equations can sketch invisible forces, then what story do they tell of the universe's future? What picture emerges when their symbols are extended forward in time? You rest with the chalk-dusted poetry of equations, verses reaching toward the unseen. They do not answer fully, yet they soothe like an unfinished stanza left to linger. And you wonder softly, what future do these equations sketch? And what horizon do they reveal for the universe itself? You gaze upward tonight and the stars still shine. The Milky Way sweeps across the sky, a river of light stretching from one horizon to another. Galaxies shimmer faintly in telescopes, clusters hang together like distant lanterns. The night is alive with light, and yet you know this is only one chapter of the cosmic story. If you let your mind wander billions of years forward, the view above you begins to change. Slowly, gently, almost imperceptibly, the galaxies drift farther apart. One by one, they cross horizons beyond which their light will never return. The universe expands, and with its acceleration, more and more galaxies vanish into darkness, leaving fewer behind to brighten the night. You imagine lying on the ground in that far-off age, looking up. The sky is quiet. The stars above you are only the ones belonging to your local galaxy, still bound together by gravity. Beyond it, the heavens are empty. The lanterns have drifted too far, their light stretched into invisibility, their presence erased from sight. It is not sudden, it is not violent. The emptying is slow, as gentle as sand sliding through an hourglass. Night after night, fewer galaxies remain visible. The great clusters dissolve into silence. Eventually, the Milky Way itself, merged with its neighbors into a single giant galaxy, becomes the only island of stars left to see. You rest in this thought, not with sorrow but with calm acceptance. Just as every life has its arc, every star, every galaxy, every universe carries its rhythm. There is beauty in beginnings, but there is also beauty in endings. An empty sky is not a failure, it is a transformation. You picture the last of the great stars. They shine brightly, enormous and short-lived, burning through their fuel quickly, before fading into remnants, white dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes. Over trillions of years, the sky grows darker still, the brilliant points of light dwindling into faint embers. The cosmos cools, energy thins, space grows silent, and yet even in this silence, there is one. The night sky becomes a vast canvas of darkness, deeper than anything you have ever known. It is an emptiness that holds meaning, the quiet after the song has ended, the hush that follows a symphony. You lie in that silence and find it soothing, a reminder that all things, even universes, follow the arc of time. This vision is not meant to frighten you. It belongs to a future so distant that even the word forever feels too small. Billions upon billions of years must pass before the sky grows so bare, and in that span, stars will still shine, planets will still orbit, and life may still gaze upward in wonder. You are safe in your time, surrounded by love. But as you rest tonight, it comforts you to know that the universe is always changing. Nothing is truly fixed. The stars you see are part of a living cosmos, one that has a past, a present and a future. To imagine that future is not to despair, it is to marvel at the grandness of the story you belong to. You let yourself picture it one last time, the empty sky darker than ink, quieter than silence. You are a traveler, lying beneath it, breathing calmly, aware of the vastness, aware of the stillness. The absence of light is not emptiness, it is presence, the presence of space itself, stretching on without end. And within that presence lies a reminder. The light you see tonight, the stars that sparkle now, are gifts of the moment. They are not permanent, and that impermanence makes them precious. To look at the sky is to look at something fleeting, a beauty that belongs to this age, this chapter, this. You close your eyes and hold on to that truth. There is beauty in endings, because endings give meaning to the light that shines before them. The stars are lovely not because they last forever, but because they glow for a time and then fade, just as all things do. And even as you rest in the idea of the emptying night, you realize that silence does not mean absence of story. The universe continues, even in darkness. Black holes still drift, particles still move, the fabric of space still expands. The story does not stop, it simply changes. This too mirrors your life. There are chapters filled with brightness, and there are chapters quieter, darker, emptier, yet both belong to the same book. You do not fear the quiet chapters, you embrace them, because they too carry meaning. The emptying of the night sky is not the end of wonder, it is another form of wonder, quieter, subtler, gentler. It is the universe's way of teaching you that beauty takes many forms, light and darkness, presence and absence, sound and silence. And so you drift with this thought, held in calm reflection. You do not resist the future, you do not cling to the present, you let yourself rest in the flow of time, in the knowledge that all things move toward transformation. As you drift deeper into rest, a question forms softly: if the sky grows empty, what lies beyond emptiness? What becomes of space itself, when light has faded and silence has taken its place? You lie beneath the thought of an emptying night sky, stars fading, galaxies drifting beyond reach. The silence feels vast, but not frightening. It feels like rest, and you wonder gently, what horizon awaits when even emptiness itself continues to expand? You picture yourself standing on a shore. Before you stretches an endless sea, calm and steady, its waters shimmering under the faint light of stars. Far in the distance, ships drift away. Slowly, gently, they move past the line where sea meets sky, vanishing not with drama, but with inevitability. You know they are still there, still sailing, still moving, yet you cannot see them anymore. The horizon is a boundary, not of existence, but of sight. The universe holds a similar horizon. Galaxies, those lanterns of light scattered across the fabric of space, drift out. Some draw near enough for you to see with telescopes, their light still traveling across cosmic distances. But the farther they are, the faster they recede. Beyond a certain distance, their retreat becomes faster than light itself can bridge. Their glow stretches, dims, and finally disappears. They cross the horizon of visibility, slipping into forever. This cosmic horizon is not like the edge of a map. It is not a wall or a fence. It is not a place you could travel to, no matter how fast you move. It is the limit of what light has time to reach you, the limit of communication written into the fabric of expansion itself. Beyond it, the galaxies continue to drift, but their stories can never arrive. You let this image settle inside you. The night sky, vast though it is only a window. You see much, but not all. There are regions of the universe already gone beyond reach, their light stretched into silence, their presence invisible forever. The horizon hides them, not cruelly, but naturally, as part of the rhythm of expansion. It might seem unsettling to imagine a universe with places you cannot reach, distances you cannot cross, messages you cannot receive, and yet, as you think about it, there is a calmness in the horizon. It is not a barrier placed against it. It is a gentle reminder. You do not need to hold everything. The universe is larger than your grasp, and that largeness is part of its beauty. You pause to think of it this way. When you look at the sea, you do not despair that you cannot see what lies beyond the horizon. You accept it. You even treasure it, knowing there is more out there than your eyes can hold. The universe asks the same of you, to rest in the knowledge that much exists beyond your vision, to let the horizon soothe you, rather than disturb you. Scientists call this boundary the cosmic event horizon. It is defined not by what exists, but by what can ever be known. Beyond it, the galaxies are still real, still glowing, still forming stars, but their light will never reach you, carried away by the expansion of space. They belong to the part of the universe you can imagine but never see, dream of but never confirm. This horizon is not fixed. With every passing moment, more galaxies drift beyond it. The universe grows not only in size, but in mystery. Each second, more ships slip past the edge of your view, sailing into the unseen. What you see today is less than what could once be seen, and tomorrow will reveal less still. Yet this loss is not destruction. It is simply distance, distance deepened into forever. You rest with that truth. Horizons do not mean endings. They mean beginnings of mystery. The ships that slip away are not gone. They are only sailing farther, their journeys continuing in silence. The galaxies beyond your horizon live on, but in another realm of the story, one you cannot read, but can imagine. And perhaps imagination is enough. To know that there is more beyond the edge of sight is to know that you are always surrounded by wonder, even if you cannot measure it. The unseen does not shrink your world. It enlarges. It whispers to you that the universe is endless, richer than your view, fuller than your reach. You breathe slowly, and in that breath, you realize that life too carries horizons. There are things you cannot know, futures you cannot see, outcomes you cannot touch. And yet you live, you breathe, you move forward. The unseen is not your enemy. It is your companion. It is the gentle line reminding you that mystery always remains. You return to the shore in your mind. The ships drift away, their sails bright for a time, then dimming as they slip into the distance. You do not chase them, you let them go, knowing they are still out there, even if your eyes cannot follow. The sea is wide, the sky is vast, and the horizon is soft. So too with the universe. Galaxies slip away, not because they choose to, but because space itself carries them. You cannot chase them, cannot reach them, but you can rest in their presence, knowing they are part of the whole, even beyond sight. This horizon is not a wall that shuts you in. It is an opening into infinity, a reminder that you are part of something greater, something you cannot fully hold. To live within such a universe is not to be diminished, but to be uplifted, carried by one. As you drift deeper into this thought, you realize that the horizon is not only about what you cannot see, it is also about what you can. The stars that still shine, the galaxies still within view, are treasures of this moment. Their presence is precious, precisely because one day they may drift beyond reach. To look at them now is to savor a gift, to hold a light that will not last forever. And as you let this reflection cradle you, another thought rises gently. If the universe has horizons that hide what lies beyond, what hidden constants within it keep the balance of what you can see? What steady presence holds the expanding fabric together, even as it stretches beyond your grasp? You rest with the image of ships slipping past a cosmic horizon, their light vanishing into forever. The horizon feels calm, not limiting but expansive, a boundary that invites wonder. And you wonder softly, what constants, what quiet presences, continue to shape the universe you can still see. You sit with the thought of horizons, of galaxies slipping quietly away, beyond and then, gently, you turn toward a different question. If so much drifts and changes, what, if anything, stays the same? If the universe expands, if distances widen, and stars are born only to fade, is there some quiet presence, a balance that holds beneath the change? Einstein once wondered the same. More than a century ago, he searched for a way to describe the universe through mathematics, a set of equations as delicate as glass, and as vast as the sky. At first, those equations told him something startling, that the universe could not sit still. They suggested expansion or contraction, or motion of some kind. But Einstein, like many of his time, imagined the universe as eternal and steady, a grand stage fixed forever. To preserve that sense of balance, he introduced a new term into his equations, a subtle adjustment. He called it the cosmological constant. It was meant to act like a counterweight, something that would hold the universe in place, keeping it from collapsing inward or flying apart. It was not born of observation, but of desire, the wish for stillness. For a time it worked. The equations balanced, the picture looked steady, but then telescopes revealed otherwise. In the 1920s, Edwin Hubble measured the light of galaxies and found them receding, each one slipping outward, faster the farther away it was. The universe was not steady at all. It was expanding, alive with motion. Einstein, upon hearing this, set aside his constant. He is said to have called it his greatest mistake. And yet the story did not end there. Decades passed. Astronomers traced galaxies with more precision, mapped supernovae like lanterns in the dark. In the 1990s, a quiet surprise arrived. The universe was not only expanding, it was accelerating. Something unseen was pushing space itself to stretch faster and faster. That mystery was given a name, dark energy. And suddenly, Einstein's discarded idea returned. Perhaps the cosmological constant was not a mistake, but a clue. Perhaps there is, woven into the very fabric of space, a gentle pressure, an energy of emptiness itself, pulling galaxies apart. You breathe with this thought. The void is not empty. The vacuum of space, silent and dark, hums with energy. It is not an absence, but a presence, subtle,
constant, always there. It does not flicker like a star or swirl like a galaxy. It does not come and go, it simply remains, pushing, stretching, whispering. You let that settle in your mind. The idea that even in nothingness there is something, that the silence between galaxies is not void at all but filled with a steady force. It is humbling, almost paradoxical, that what appears to be empty may be the most powerful ingredient of all. You imagine the universe as a great canvas. Galaxies are the painted strokes, stars the splashes of color, but behind them, beneath them, the canvas itself expands, pulled wider and wider by a hand you cannot see. The cosmological constant may be that hidden hand, unseen yet steady, a quiet law of being. In this thought you find a kind of peace, because life too has its expansions and its losses. People drift, horizons move, the world changes faster than you can sometimes bear, and yet you wonder, are there constants woven into your own experience? Quiet presences that do not vanish, even when everything else shifts. Perhaps love is one, or memory, or the small rhythm of breath, the steady beat of your heart. They do not hold the world still, but they carry you through its change. Like the cosmological constant, they are not always noticed, yet they shape everything. The cosmological constant is strange in its simplicity. A single number, inserted into an equation, may describe the very destiny of the universe. Too large, and everything would have blown apart before galaxies could form. Too small, and the universe would have collapsed back on itself. But here it is, just right to allow stars, planets, oceans, and you. The balance is delicate, and its quietness makes it almost poetic.
You close your eyes and imagine the accelerating universe as a breath that never ends. Space stretches, galaxies drift, and still, the constant presses outward. This acceleration will not slow, it will carry on, for billions and billions of years, until galaxies are too far to see one another, until the night sky itself grows empty. And yet, that story belongs to the future. For now, you live in the time when galaxies still shine, when the stars still crowd your sky. The constant holds the story, but it does not rush it. It unfolds like a slow tide, rising without sound, carrying everything upon it. To know of it is to rest in the rhythm of inevitability. There is no urgency in it, only motion, steady and patient, written into the structure of the void. You return, in your thoughts, to the horizon you left behind in the last chapter. Galaxies slipping away beyond reach. Now you understand the quiet hand behind that slipping, the constant in the void, stretching space, pulling horizons farther. What felt like distance now feels like pattern, as though you were glimpsing the breath of the cosmos itself. This thought does not frighten you. Instead, it settles like a blanket. The universe is immense, shifting, full of mysteries beyond your grasp. And yet, within its vastness, there are threads of balance, constants that steady the story. Even in acceleration there is order. Even in emptiness there is presence. You take comfort in this paradox. The void is not void. Nothingness hums with energy. Stillness holds a force. The universe expands, but within that expansion is a constant unseen but unshaken. You breathe more slowly now, letting the rhythm of this thought soothe you. Change is endless, but not chaotic. It is carried by quiet rules, constants that you may never fully know, but can trust are there. And as you drift deeper into this reflection, another question rises gently. If the universe is shaped by such hidden energy, then what becomes of its future? If constants guide its destiny, where will that path lead? You rest in the thought that even emptiness carries a quiet presence, a constant that shapes everything. The void is not truly void, and stillness itself hums with energy. And softly, you begin to wonder, what story does this constant write for the far future of the universe? You drift into the idea of emptiness. It feels at first like a pause, a breath between thoughts, the stillness when nothing is happening. You imagine the dark between stars, the silence between pulses of light. It seems natural to think of it as nothing. No sound, no shape, no presence, just void. But science tells a softer, stranger truth. The void, it turns out, is not void at all. Even the silence carries a hum. Even the darkness holds a glow too faint for your eye. The vacuum of space is alive with what physicists call quantum fields.
invisible seas that ripple even when no particle stirs. You picture the universe as a vast stage. The galaxies are actors, their stars blazing, their planets circling in slow dance. But behind them, beneath them, there is always a background. The stage floor is never bare. It vibrates, faintly, with energy that cannot be erased. Even if every star went dark, even if every atom dissolved, the stage itself would still sing. This is what scientists mean when they speak of the energy of nothing. They call it the vacuum energy, a reminder that the emptiest place you can imagine is never truly empty. Space itself carries a pulse, a pressure, a restless stirring. You let the image come into focus. Imagine peeling away galaxies, brushing aside the stars, dissolving planets into dust, stripping matter until none remains. You would expect silence, but what remains is a soft background hum, woven into the fabric of existence itself. Quantum physics whispers of particles flickering in and out of being, tiny sparks that appear for a moment, then vanish, borrowing energy from the vacuum itself. These are called virtual particles, and though they are fleeting, their presence can be measured. They press against the plates of an experiment. They leave traces in the patterns of light. They remind you that nothingness is restless. And if you lean into this thought, you find it strangely comforting, because it means that silence is not absent, that even the spaces in your own life, the pauses between heartbeats, the quiet after loss, may not be empty. They too may hum with unseen presence. The energy of nothing has another name in the grander scale of the cosmos: dark energy. The same invisible force that pushes galaxies apart may be tied to this quantum hum, to the energy of the vacuum itself. No one knows for certain, but the echoes line up. The same idea Einstein once brushed aside, the cosmological constant, may simply be the fingerprint of empty space's hidden power. You imagine it now, not as numbers on a chalkboard, but as a gentle tide. The universe is a vast ocean, and this vacuum energy is its deep current, flowing everywhere, touching everything, steady and patient. It does not flicker like a candle, it does not blaze like a star. It simply presses, stretching space itself, a whisper that reshapes the cosmos. And yet it is subtle. In a single cup of space, the amount of vacuum energy is minuscule. You could never feel it on your skin, never taste it in the air, but spread across the infinite vastness of the universe, its influence becomes profound. It is the reason the stars drift farther from each other. It is why the universe accelerates in its expansion. A small whisper, multiplied by immensity, becomes destiny.
There is poetry in that thought, that the quietest things can guide the grandest motions, that what seems like nothing can move everything. You find yourself breathing more slowly, resting in that paradox. You think of how often people fear emptiness, a blank page, a silent room, an unanswered question. Yet here, emptiness itself is full, humming with unseen possibility. Perhaps this lesson carries into your own life. The pauses, the spaces where you feel nothing is happening, may hold more than you realize. Perhaps they are not barren, but fertile. Perhaps silence is not an absence of meaning, but a reservoir of it. In the night sky, you see a star twinkle. Light from its surface may have traveled hundreds or thousands of years to reach you, but between you and that star, across all that darkness, lies not true nothingness, but the fabric of space alive with energy. Every photon of starlight that journeys towards you passes through that invisible sea. The light is carried, not through emptiness, but through a field that hums. Some scientists suggest this vacuum energy is connected to the birth of the universe itself. In the earliest moments after the Big Bang, a burst of expansion called inflation may have been driven by the energy of space. In less than a heartbeat, the universe swelled from smaller than an atom to larger than a galaxy, and when that burst calmed, the echo of that energy remained, woven into every corner of the cosmos. It is humbling to imagine that nothingness itself carries memory, that space remembers its own beginning in the way it still expands today, that the emptiness above you is not silent, but speaks in the language of acceleration and motion. You let yourself settle into this idea, as though resting in a soft chair. The room around you feels quieter, the breath you draw feels deeper. You are reminded that the spaces within and around you may not be empty after all. The universe is not afraid of stillness. It makes music from silence, power from nothingness, and you too may rest without fear. You may lean into the spaces between, knowing that they carry their own hum. The paradox is simple, but profound. Nothing is not nothing. The void is alive. Stillness hums. Silence sings. And as you sink deeper into this reflection, another question rises gently at the horizon of thought. If emptiness itself carries energy, then what becomes of a universe filled with it? What destiny is written when the background itself cannot rest? And you wonder, softly, if emptiness hums with energy, what future does that endless hum create for the universe? You close your eyes and imagine yourself drifting across a meadow. The air is still, the world hushed, yet you sense a movement. Grass bends as though stirred by a breeze you cannot feel, as though the land itself remembers a rhythm hidden from your senses. This is the image that comes when scientists speak of fields, unseen presences, stretching across the cosmos, swaying in silence, shaping reality in ways you rarely notice. In physics, a field is not like a solid object you can hold. It is more like a presence that fills space, an invisible layer woven through the fabric of the universe. The magnetic field of the Earth, for example, is not something you can touch, yet it guides the compass needle faithfully. Light itself is carried on an electromagnetic field, rippling across space in waves of brightness. You may not see the field directly, but you see its effects everywhere. Now imagine not one field but many. The universe, according to quantum physics, is filled with each particle you have ever heard of. Electrons, protons, quarks, emerges from a field that pervades all of space. The particles are like ripples, disturbances in these invisible oceans. Even the Higgs boson, whose discovery made headlines, is simply a ripple in the Higgs field, a presence that gives mass to all the other particles. You breathe in slowly, letting this picture expand in your mind. The universe is not made of emptiness dotted with stars. It is made of fields overlapping, humming, stretching from one end of creation to the other. You swim in them even now, though you cannot feel their touch. Some scientists imagine that one of these fields may explain the deepest mystery of all, why the universe expands faster and faster, as though pushed by an unseen hand. They call this idea quintessence, a field so subtle, so ghostly, it cannot yet be measured directly, but its influence might be felt in the stretching of space itself. Quintessence is different from a constant, unchanging push. It is imagined instead as something alive, something that could shift and evolve, like the tall grass, swaying under changing winds. If dark energy is the steady pressure of nothingness, then quintessence is the whisper of a field, dynamic, flowing, quietly deciding how the future unfolds. You picture yourself lying in that meadow again, the blades of grass moving with the unseen air. Sometimes they lean more strongly, sometimes less. Their rhythm is not fixed, but flexible, adapting to currents you cannot see. So it might be with the universe, sometimes pulled more tightly, sometimes more gently, depending on the hidden sway of a cosmic field. It is strange, almost dreamlike, to think that what you see in the night sky, the glowing arc of galaxies drifting apart, could be the result of a whisper you cannot hear, a field ghostly and quiet, guiding everything from behind the curtain. And yet, this is not without precedent. For much of history, humanity lived unaware of invisible presences. No one could see the magnetic field until compasses revealed its secret. No one could touch the air, yet the winds carried ships across oceans. Electricity, too, was once an unseen force, unmeasurable, invisible, until experiments gave it form. Perhaps quintessence is simply the next whisper waiting to be heard, the next hidden current revealed. You find comfort in this possibility, that the universe still carries mysteries, still hums with secrets not yet unfolded, that even in our age of knowledge, there are still meadows of the unknown, waiting for us to lie down and listen. The whisper of fields is not limited to cosmic expansion. The entire architecture of the universe depends on them. Without the Higgs field, matter would have no weight, no substance, no ability to gather into stars and planets. Without the electromagnetic field, light would not travel, life would not breathe. Fields are the silent foundations, the invisible scaffolding holding everything together. You pause and imagine, what if you could see them? What if your eyes could tune to that hidden spectrum? Around you, the room would glow with unseen presence. Waves of fields would cross, interlace, ripple through the air. You would see yourself immersed in a sea that never parts, a fabric that touches every point of space, binding you gently to the cosmos. And then the question comes quietly, are these fields eternal,
or do they shift with time? If quintessence exists, then perhaps the fate of the universe is not fixed, but pliable. Perhaps the acceleration will grow faster, tearing galaxies apart, leaving stars isolated in a silent void. Or perhaps the field could change its sway, slowing the expansion, even reversing it, drawing everything back together in a cosmic embrace. The future may be written not by matter, not by stars, but by a whisper too soft for us to hear today. You take comfort again in the softness of that thought, because it tells you that the future of the universe is not only vast, but also mysterious. It is not set in stone. It bends and sways like the meadow grass, alive with possibility. Even in your own life, there are fields you cannot see. Gentle influences, invisible currents, that guide your path. A kind word once spoken, that still shapes you. A memory that hums quietly beneath your choices. A silence that holds you steady when you feel alone. Just as the cosmos is guided by fields, so too may your own existence be carried by forces unseen, but deeply real. The universe, then, is not a machine of cold emptiness. It is a meadow, alive with whispers, bending under currents that flow quietly yet powerfully. And you are part of that meadow, swaying too, touched by the same invisible winds. You rest in that image. You breathe into its calmness. You let the unseen become not something to fear, but something to trust. For the unseen has always been there, guiding stars, guiding light, guiding you.
And as you sink deeper into rest, one more question rises like a soft horizon. If fields whisper and guide the universe today, then what story are they writing for tomorrow? Can we imagine the cosmos as a meadow, its fields swaying with invisible rhythm, whispering the shape of destiny? And you wonder gently, if the whispers guide the present, what future melody will they play across the stars? You hold possibilities like shells cupped in both hands, cool curves pressed against your palms. Each shell is a future the universe might choose. You tilt them gently, listening for the sea inside. A hush of snow, a far wind, a soft tearing, a long sigh. You are not afraid. You are attentive. You are present with what may be. The shapes of fate begin with a simple question. How does the hidden pressure of space behave? If the outward push remains steady, the universe follows one path. If it grows stronger, another. If somehow gravity's pull reasserts itself, a different ending appears. You breathe slowly, letting these branches open like trails in a quiet forest. And you promise not to rush any answer, only to walk among possibilities with patient steps. The first shell carries winter. Astronomers call it the long freeze. But the phrase feels too sharp for bedtime. Imagine instead a patient snowfall of darkness. Expansion never stops. Galaxies drift beyond one another's sightlines. Star nurseries grow quiet as gas thins. New stars become rare, then see. The stars that exist spend their fuel and fade. Blue giants first, amber suns later, red dwarfs last, each ember cooling toward ash. Worlds, if they remain, circle pale remnants, white dwarfs cooling to black, neutron stars sleeping, black holes keeping their counts over unimaginable spans. Even black holes release their hoarded heat to the night, and the last sparks go out. What remains is thin warmth spread wide through space, like afterglow in the coals of a festival long ended. The universe does not finish with a crash. It settles into quiet. You inhale at that idea and find that quiet can hold a gentle kind of grace. The second shell carries a different wind, the tearing path some call the Big Rip. In this future, the push of dark energy grows stronger with time, not merely steady but swelling. The river becomes rapids, distances stretch faster and faster, until even things once safely bound begin to loosen. First, clusters fall apart, then galaxies unspool. Later, star systems lose their grip. If the wind keeps rising, it could tug at the smallest bonds, atoms, nuclei, the knitting of matter itself. The story is stark, yet even here you soften its edges. You picture threads drifting free of the loom, not as violence but as surrender, as structure yielding to an ever stronger tide. If this is how the book ends, it is not with anger. It is paper returned to pulp, pattern back to possibility. You hold the third shell, and hear a softer surf, the hush of a constant push. This is the gentle dimming. Dark energy does not swell, it simply persists. Horizons draw close like fog. The night sky becomes a local story, restricted to the single island where your descendants live. Beyond the horizon, other islands endure, but their signals never arrive. Each island keeps its own hearth. A faint warmth pervades the emptiness, an almost imperceptible glow tied to horizons themselves, reminding you that even emptiness keeps a low, steady fire. In this future there is no ripping, no rush to an ending, only seclusion, a cosmos of separate neighborhoods, each lovingly tended, each alone, under its private sky. Another shell returns you to an older possibility, the great return, the big cry. If the hidden pressure weakened and gravity, tireless collector, gained the upper hand, expansion could slow, stop, and reverse. Galaxies would begin drifting back together, the fabric would gather like a curtain being drawn, temperatures would rise, colors would shift blue, distances would shrink. At the end of this path, everything meets again in a compact blaze. Some mathematical stories even imagine a bounce, a new outward breath, born from the inward side. You do not insist on it, you simply allow the image to rest, collapse as heartbeat, winter turning towards spring. There are other variations, subtler shells whose patterns are still being traced. Perhaps dark energy is not perfectly even, but changes its mood over cosmic time, a field that slowly rolls then rests. Perhaps it speaks to gravity in quiet ways we have not yet learned to translate. Each version writes a slightly different cadence into the far future. None troubles your breathing tonight. What guides these shapes is measurement, a conversation between light and mind. Telescopes gather whispers from supernovae, from the afterglow of creation, from the way galaxies cluster and the way gravity bends passing beams. The patterns agree on this, much so far. Expansion accelerates, the present balance favors the quiet futures, yet science keeps a humble posture. New instruments will listen better, new maps will widen, the shells may be rearranged as learning deepens. You find comfort in that humility. The universe does not demand a verdict, it invites patience. You notice how the cosmic endings echo endings you already understand. Some chapters of your life fade like embers, friendships that cool, projects that conclude, seasons that complete themselves without drama. Some end with a sharper seam ripping, a change that separates what once held. Others are gentle horizons. You move to a new city, you keep a small hearth of memory, and the larger landscape slips beyond reach. There are even compressions when scattered pieces gather again, reunions, reconciliations, a home remade from fragments. The sky exaggerates these patterns, but it does not invent them. You already speak their language. In each fate, meaning remains. In the freeze, meaning becomes patience, endurance, long memory, the generosity of time. In the tear, meaning becomes release, grateful hands letting go, threads offered back to the loom. In the gentle dimming, meaning becomes locality, care for the island you can reach, love for the lights that remain. In the return, meaning becomes harvest, what was sown across expansion gathered into a single sheaf. You breathe these translations like mantras, steady and slow, and still beneath the ending's structure persists for a very long while. Galaxies today trace vast filaments, rivers of stars braided by gravity. Clusters sit like beads where the filaments knot, voids open like sleeping lakes between strands. This web is the fossil of many forces acting together, the pull that gathers, the push that separates, the seeds planted in the universe's first light. To hold the future well, you turn your attention for a moment to that present patterning, to the map already glittering before you. You return to your shells, now warm from your hands. You do not toss any back to the sea. You place them in a line, admiring their different spirals. Fate is not a single answer. It is a family of shapes revealed by listening. Tonight, the listening is in. You are alive in a cosmos that teaches with patience, that lets you practice curiosity without haste. Whatever the ending, the path from here to there is drawn through patterns. The structures already visible, the harmonies written in the distribution of galaxies, the ripples still imprinted on ancient light. The shapes of fate are not only far off, they are hinted at in the map spread before you now. You lean closer, quiet as teed water, ready to trace the lines. You rest with the shells aligned, futures humming softly at your fingertip. The sky seems to answer with its own design, threads, knots and open lakes of dark, and you wonder, gently, what the present pattern of stars is trying to tell you next. You close your eyes and see the stars as they were first shown to you, tiny dots scattered across a dark canvas, scattered as though by chance. Yet as you linger, as you let your breath grow slower, you begin to sense that nothing here is random. There is a pattern, subtle and immense, waiting to be seen. Imagine standing on a hill, in the quiet of night. Above you stretches the Milky Way, its ribbon of light spanning the sky. At first it looks like chaos, a spray of diamonds on black velvet, but with patience the shapes reveal themselves. A hunter, a bear, a swan, a scorpion, forms our ancestors traced with wonder. Their stories turned stars into companions, guiding journeys, marking seasons, giving meaning to the cold expanse. Now you travel farther out in your mind. Beyond the myths, beyond the constellations lies another order, one hidden from naked eyes. Astronomers call it the cosmic web. Galaxies are not sprinkled evenly across the universe. They gather, they cluster, they stream along, invisible threads, like dew along spider silk. If you could drift outside of everything and look back at the whole, you would see a vast three-dimensional tapestry, light strung across space in filaments hundreds of millions of light-years long. Picture it, galaxies flowing like rivers of starlight, intersecting at nodes where gravity has drawn them into clusters. Between them stretch great empty voids, expanses so wide you could fit entire galaxies side by side 1,000 times and still have room to spare. These voids are like the silent pauses in a piece of music, making the luminous notes stand out more clearly. The universe is not just matter, but rhythm, density and emptiness, sound and silence. You might imagine the structure as lace, or frost crawling across a window, branching and weaving. Others see coral reefs, branching trees, or even neurons inside a human brain. The resemblances are striking. The universe itself looks alive, as if thought and matter mirror each other at scales beyond comprehension. Perhaps this resemblance is coincidence, or perhaps patterns repeat, whispered by the same mathematics that shapes both star and synapse. How do these patterns form? It begins with gravity, the quiet sculptor of the cosmos. In the young universe, matter was spread almost even, but tiny ripples, seeds of fluctuation, were already present, like faint ripples on a still pond. Gravity magnified these ripples over billions of years. Where there was slightly more matter, more gathered, until galaxies were born. Where there was less, emptiness grew. The result is this vast network of threads and knots, the architecture of everything we see. Yet gravity is not the only player. Dark energy, the mysterious pressure accelerating cosmic expansion, also shapes the web. It tugs gently against gravity's pull, stretching filaments, widening voids, slowing the gathering of clusters. It is as though two dancers move across the floor, gravity drawing inward, dark energy pressing outward. Their slow, endless duet writes the patterns you see. Lie here, in the imagination of night, and picture yourself adrift in one of those filaments. Galaxies stream past, like lanterns, countless and calm. Each one holds billions of suns, each sun its own chorus of planets, each planet its own chants at oceans, skies or silence. You are carried as though on a river of light, following the thread deeper into the weave. Closer, the galaxies themselves reveal shapes: spirals, ellipses, irregular bursts. Within clusters they crowd together like cities glowing in the night. Some merge in long, graceful collisions, pulling out tidal streams that curve like brushstrokes. Others drift apart, their light fading into the quiet between. Each cluster is a gathering of stories, of timescales far beyond your own. Astronomers have mapped these patterns with patient care. They measure the faint redshifts of distant galaxies, charting where each lies in the expanding fabric. Slowly, like cartographers of an unknown land, they sketch the great filaments, the nodes, the void. Their maps reveal a structure almost too grand to believe, like looking into a forest and discovering the trees themselves form larger, hidden letters of a language. For you lying quietly in thought,
It feels like music more than mathematics. The universe is playing itself, each galaxy a note, each cluster a chord, each void a pause. You listen not with ears, but with imagination. The rhythm is slow, impossibly slow, unfolding over billions of years. Yet in the stillness of your mind, you hear it as a soft and patient hum. There is comfort in these patterns. They remind you that nothing exists in isolation. Every galaxy belongs to a filament, every star to a galaxy, every particle to a field. Even in vastness, there is connection. Even in silence, there is structure. You too are part of this rhythm. Your atoms once part of a star, your breath rising and falling with the earth that orbits its sun, which itself drifts quietly along a thread of the cosmic web. As you rest, the shapes drift before you like lanterns carried downstream. You see spirals turning, filaments stretching, clusters glowing. You imagine yourself weaving through them, touching each one lightly, as though tracing patterns on fabric. It is not frightening, this immensity. It is tender, like being held in a net too vast to see its edges, yet strong enough to cradle you safely. The web continues endlessly. Each filament leads to another, each cluster to another crossroads. The universe unfolds like a map with no edges, like a story without a final page. And still, the shapes persist. Patterns in the stars, patterns in your thoughts, patterns in the quiet beating of your heart. You drift deeper into this rhythm, eyes closed, body light, mind listening. The stars are no longer far away, they are within you, around you, part of the same order. The web hums softly, and you hum with it, both woven into the same fabric of fate. And somewhere just beyond this gentle order lies another mystery, not the stars themselves, but the invisible threads that bind them. You wonder what deeper pattern may wait, unseen behind the stars you already know.
You let the cosmic web fade into darkness, its filaments dissolving into silence. And in that silence, you sense something even subtler, an invisible hand weaving these patterns, fields and forces shaping the dance. You breathe and wait, ready to follow the whisper that comes next. You are used to thinking of science as certainty, as formulas etched on the page, as numbers that settle disputes, as a truth that can be held with both hands. But the deeper you walk into the universe, the more you find that certainty is not the language of the cosmos. The cosmos whispers in probabilities, in shadows, in suggestions. Dark energy is the clearest reminder of this. It is not something you can hold, it is not something you can see, and yet the evidence for it hums all around you. You imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast curtain. Behind it, something moves, but only its faint outline is visible. You cannot part the fabric, you cannot enter the hidden chamber. All you can do is trace the shape of what is suggested. This is what cosmologists do when they speak of dark energy. They admit that it exists in equations and in the way galaxies rush apart, but they do not claim to know what lies beneath that veil. You feel the humility in this confession. It is not weakness to admit not knowing. It is strength. It is the same strength you feel when you stand under the stars and allow yourself to wonder without needing every answer to be carved in stone. Dark energy becomes not just a scientific puzzle, but a lesson in patience, in openness, in living with questions. The history of science is filled with veils. Electricity was once a rumor, known only as the shock from amber rubbed with fur. Magnetism was once a curiosity, a needle that pointed north with no explanation. Even the atom, once imagined as indivisible, was later revealed to be made of smaller mysteries. Every discovery pulled aside one veil only to reveal another, delicate and translucent, waiting to be touched. Dark energy may be no different. It may be that today's veil is tomorrow's explanation. Perhaps future generations will speak of it as casually as you speak of gravity, as though it were always understood. Or perhaps its mystery will deepen, stretching far into centuries yet unborn, reminding humans that not everything can be caught, measured, named. You picture yourself as a traveler in a fog. You cannot see the mountains in the distance, but you can see the road before your feet. Step by step, you move forward, trusting that clarity will come in time. Dark energy is that fog, not an enemy, but a companion. It reminds you that journeys are not meant to be rushed, that some landscapes reveal themselves only slowly, like petals opening at dawn. Scientists peer into the night sky with telescopes more sensitive than ever, collecting the faint light of galaxies billions of years old. They map the way those galaxies drift apart. They measure the dimming of ancient stars. They calculate how fast the universe expands. And still the answer does not sharpen into focus. Still the veil remains. But in that lingering mystery, there is beauty. For if every corner of the cosmos were already illuminated, there would be no place left for wonder. You let that thought settle. Wonder is not wasted time. It is the very air of discovery. To wonder is to admit you are small, but also to admit you are part of something vast. Dark energy may remain unnamed, but in its presence you find yourself softer, quieter, more willing to listen. You imagine lying on a hillside, the night stretched above you, the grass bends in a breeze you cannot see, the stars pulse with slow light. You think of the forces guiding them, the invisible hands that draw them apart, that shape the cosmic fabric itself. You cannot touch those hands, but you can feel the space they create, the rhythm they set, like a distant drumbeat guiding the dance of galaxies. Some scientists propose that dark energy may not be a substance at all, but simply the shape of space itself. Others suggest it could be a field, like a sea that everything floats in. Some whisper that it may be tied to quantum fluctuations, tiny sparks of energy that never quite vanish. Each theory is a thread trying to pierce the veil, each one catching on its edge, but none fully tearing it open. You listen to these theories like lullabies, not needing to choose, not needing to decide which is true. Each is simply a melody drifting through the night. The beauty is not in the certainty, but in the possibility, in the way the human mind reaches outward, crafting patterns even when the full picture is hidden. The veil of uncertainty is not meant to be feared, it is meant to be honored. You think of life itself. How much of tomorrow is unknown, how much of your own heart remains unexplored. The mystery of dark energy becomes a mirror of your own mystery, the parts of yourself you have not yet understood, the dreams still unspoken, the futures still unwritten. There is comfort in this parallel. If the universe can continue to expand, driven by something unseen, then perhaps you too can be carried forward by forces you cannot yet name. Perhaps not knowing is part of living, and perhaps living with questions is its own quiet strength. As you breathe slowly, you feel the weight of knowledge loosening. You do not need every answer. You do not need every veil lifted. You are part of a story still being written, and that is enough. The stars continue to burn, the galaxies continue to drift, and the curtain of mystery still sways gently in the wind of time. You close your eyes, sensing the rhythm of uncertainty. It is not silence, it is a whisper, promising more to come. You rest in that whisper, knowing that the next question will always rise, just as the next dawn will always break. And as you rest in that uncertainty, you feel the faint pull of another question waiting, one that asks not what lies behind the veil, but what stories might be written upon it. You sit quietly, breathing slowly, and imagine the universe not as equations, not as charts of galaxies and light, but as music, a sound too deep and vast to hear with your ears, but one your mind can almost sense. The universe is a song, and you are listening to its endless performance. The first notes are low, steady, resonant. This is gravity. It has been playing since the beginning, its rhythm pulling matter together, shaping clouds into stars, stars into galaxies, galaxies into clusters. You feel it like the steady bass in a piece of music, the deep hum that anchors everything else. Without it there would be no structure, no pattern, no familiar shapes of worlds and suns. Above it floats a lighter tone. It is quieter, subtler, but it stretches without end. This is dark energy. You imagine it as a high violin string, held forever in one trembling note. It does not rush, it does not bend into melody, it holds, it extends, it grows louder not in sound but in reach, filling every silence between the lower notes. Gravity pulls inward but this high note pulls outward, and together they form the strange harmony of expansion. You picture the universe as a sheet of music, unrolling endlessly forward. Each galaxy is a note on that staff, and the distance between them is the space where sound can breathe. At first the notes are close together, clustered tightly, then as time unfolds, the notes drift apart, spreading across the staff. The song becomes more spacious,
more airy but still continuous. You listen to the spaces as much as the tone.
You remember that music is not only sound but silence. The pauses, the rests, the spaces between notes matter as much as the notes themselves. The universe plays this way too. Vast stretches of emptiness, deserts of darkness, are not mistakes but part of the song. They give room for the bright notes of galaxies to be heard. You rest in that silence, letting it cradle you. Scientists describe the expansion with numbers, with graphs that climb upward like a swelling crescendo, but you do not need graphs now. You feel the tempo instead, slow and steady. Imagine a conductor whose hand rises slightly higher each moment, stretching time itself. You sway with that rhythm, knowing it has always been there, long before your breath, long before your world. In your mind, you travel back to the beginning, the first instant, the first strike of the drum. The universe began as a burst of sound, pure and bright. Gravity entered quickly, setting the base. Dark energy waited in the wings, soft and quiet, its violin string held still, unheard. Only much later did it begin to rise, to hold its endless note, to shape the entire composition. Together, they have guided the music to this point, and to you sitting here, listening, you think of waves. Every note is a wave. Sound waves ripple through air, light waves ripple through space, and space itself ripples outward in the great expansion. It is all waves, all vibration. You feel it in your chest, like a heartbeat. Even silence is a kind of wave, waiting, listening. The galaxies are not only notes on a page, but also instruments themselves. Each spins its spiral arms like strings, each collides with neighbors like drums. When two black holes merge, they strike like cymbals, sending ripples across the cosmic hall. You hear it not with ears, but with imagination, a faint ringing that passes through everything, even you. The expansion is not rushed, it is not hurries. It is a symphony that does not end, only changes its tempo. At first it was fast, like a rushing river of sound, then it slowed, gravity holding it back. But now, dark energy has risen, and the tempo increases again. Galaxies drift faster, spaces widen more quickly. The high violin note grows clearer, the music stretches, becomes more spacious, more airy. You can almost feel yourself floating with it, carried on a sound that has no end. You think of your own life as part of this song. Your heart has its own rhythm, steady and low. Your breath adds its gentle rise and fall, like a soft percussion. Even your thoughts drifting now like clouds, are small melodies woven into the larger symphony. You are not separate from it. You are playing too. You have always been playing. The comfort of music is that it holds you even when you cannot follow every note. You do not need to understand every chord to feel the beauty. The universe is like that. Its harmonies may be too large for you to trace, but they hold you all the same. You sway in that unseen music, letting it carry you deeper into calm. Now you imagine the future. The bass may grow softer, the violin may rise higher, the music may thin until the notes are far apart, almost too far to hear, or perhaps new instruments will join, unknown yet, shaping new melodies. The symphony is unfinished, still being written. As you listen, you feel no rush to hear its ending. You only rest in the notes that are here now. The expansion continues like breath. The universe inhales, stretches, grows. You inhale with it, slowly, deeply. You exhale, and you feel that the universe exhales too. Though its breath is centuries long, you find yourself part of this breathing song, carried on its rhythm, without effort. Every vibration, every wave, every note, tells you that you are not outside the music but within it. You are part of the harmony. You are both listener and instrument, both silence and sound. This thought softens you, cradles you, lets you drift, and as you drift, you realize that the music is not only expansion, but memory. Every note holds the echo of the one before. Every galaxy carries the story of the stars that came before it. Every breath you take is linked to the breaths of ancient stars, long gone, but not forgotten. The symphony remembers. You close your eyes, the bass of gravity hums gently beneath you. The high violin of dark energy stretches endlessly above. Between them, the galaxies sing their quiet chords. You are held within the music,
and the music is endless. And just as you begin to rest in this endless song, you notice a new layer of sound, not louder, not brighter, but subtle. It is the faint harmony of patterns hidden inside the notes, shapes that repeat, echoes that return. A deeper rhythm begins to whisper itself beneath the music you thought you knew. You listen closely, almost dreaming, as those hidden harmonies reveal themselves, patterns within the song of expansion, waiting to be discovered, waiting to carry you into the next thought. You lie still, your breath rising and falling in the quiet dark. The air moves in and out of your lungs with a rhythm so simple, so natural, that you almost forget it is happening. Yet if you pay attention, you feel the gentle wave of each inhale, the soft tide of each exhale. Your chest lifts, then settles, your body opens, then releases. This rhythm feels personal, intimate, yours alone. But when you look deeper, you realize it is not just your rhythm, it is the universe's rhythm too. Scientists tell us that space itself is expanding. Every second, the fabric of reality stretches a little farther, like a balloon slowly filling with air. Galaxies drift apart, not because they are flying through space, but because space itself is unfolding beneath. The expansion is invisible to your eyes, too vast and slow for you to notice directly, but it is there, constant, unrelenting, quiet. As you breathe, you can imagine the expansion with each inhale. The way your lungs open, and the air fills them echoes the way space itself stretches and allows more room for stars, galaxies and light. You expand, the universe expands. With each exhale, your body settles back into stillness, and in that settling you feel the counterbalance, the reminder that all things, even in growth, return to a place of quiet rest. In this way your breathing is not separate from the cosmos. It is a mirror, it is a reflection. You are not only in the universe is in you.
Think of the patterns. Your heartbeat pulses, sending waves of blood through your body. Your lungs inflate and release, filling you with oxygen. The ocean tides rise and fall as the moon pulls softly on Earth. Stars ignite, then fade. Galaxies cluster, then drift apart. Everything is rhythm, everything is breath. When scientists describe the expansion of the universe, they often use numbers and measurements. They tell us that galaxies move away at speeds proportional to their distance. They explain it with graphs and equations. But here, in this quiet moment, you feel it differently. You do not need numbers. You only need your breathing. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, release. The rhythm of the cosmos made tangible in your chest. Some traditions describe breath as life itself. Ancient teachers called it spirit or soul, or energy flowing through the body. The universe too seems to breathe, not in the way you do, with lungs and air, but in the gentle way it stretches outward, softly, endless. If you close your eyes, you can imagine that every inhale you take is a small echo of that vast expansion, and every exhale is a reminder of the stillness waiting in between. You may notice how calm this makes you feel. Breathing with awareness has always been a way to slow down, to soften, to drift into rest. But now, the awareness is larger. You are not just breathing for yourself, you are breathing with the universe. The same laws that carry galaxies apart are mirrored in the rise and fall of your chest. In this you feel less alone. You are a participant in something greater, a dancer in a cosmic rhythm that stretches across billions of years. Picture a galaxy far away, its spiral arms filled with stars. Picture the light streaming out from those stars, moving across space, crossing endless distances. That galaxy drifts slowly outward, carried by expansion. And here you are, taking a breath, the air flowing into you. The two motions are not the same, but they rhyme. They belong to the same poem. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, stillness. Even your thoughts follow this rhythm. They rise, fill you with energy, then fade, leaving silence behind. Your body, your mind, the oceans, the stars, each follows a pattern of rise and fall. It is all connected, woven together by a rhythm too vast to belong to only one thing. As you breathe, you may imagine yourself floating within this expansion. The stars around you slowly drift apart. The cosmic fabric stretches gently, and you move with it effortless. You are not separate from this movement. You are carried like a leaf on water, like a note in a song. Some scientists wonder whether the universe will continue expanding forever, or whether it will slow, perhaps even collapse one day. These questions remain unanswered, a mystery folded into time. But you do not need to solve them. For you, in this moment, it is enough to breathe. Expansion, release, inhale, exhale. That is the only answer you need. Notice the softness in your body, the way your muscles let go with each exhale, the way your thoughts spread out, making more room inside your mind, just as space makes more room for galaxies. The calm you feel is not separate from the calm of the universe. It is part of the same whole. You can think of your breathing as a thread that connects you to everything. Each inhale is a thread reaching outward, touching stars and galaxies, weaving you into the fabric of space. Each exhale is that thread relaxing, settling, resting. In this weaving you are part of the cosmic pattern. The night feels quieter when you remember this. The universe feels less distant. What once seemed like cold, empty space begins to feel like a rhythm you already know, a rhythm you live with every moment, without even noticing. You drift with it now. You let your body move to the same tempo. Inhale, the stars stretch farther apart. Exhale, the stillness returns. You are a listener in a symphony without end. You are a note within its melody. You are not outside of it observing. You are inside of it, participating. And so you rest in the knowledge that even the smallest act of breathing mirrors the largest movements of the cosmos. The rhythm that carries galaxies across time is the same rhythm that carries you into sleep. And as you drift deeper into that rhythm, you may wonder if even your breath mirrors the universe. What other parts of your life echo its patterns? Its quiet, its endless unfolding. You rest in the stillness of night and the thought of distance comes to you. There are galaxies out there, vast and ancient, sailing away at such speed that their light, the very messenger of their existence, will never find you. Even if you waited longer than the age of all stars combined, their glow would never brush against your eye. They are slipping into silence, moving beyond a horizon that is not of land or ocean, but of time and expansion itself. This horizon is called the cosmic event horizon. It is not something you can see with your eyes, yet it exists like a boundary stitched into the fabric of reality. Beyond it, light itself cannot cross. Imagine a ship leaving shore so swift that no signal, no flare, no call could ever bridge the growing gap. The sea carries it away faster than waves can ripple back. You wave goodbye knowing it is fine. In the early universe, light from almost everything could eventually reach you if only you were patient enough. But as dark energy continues its quiet work, stretching space at an accelerating pace, more and more galaxies slip away. Their light is stretched too, pulled until it fades into wavelength so long they no longer whisper to your instruments. They move from sight into silence, from silence into absence. And yet, this loss is not something to mourn. It is a reminder that you live in a universe that is alive, not static. Expansion is not an end, but a process. You, sitting here in the quiet of your room, are part of that same restless unfolding. Your breath, slow and measured, mirrors it. Inhale, the space within you expands. Exhale, it settles. You might imagine the universe as a great stage. At first, the curtain lifts, and every performer stands visible. Over time, some actors leave, walking off into wings that can no longer be reached. Their voices no longer echo back across the stage, but the play continues. New patterns form with those who remain. The loss is woven into the music of what continues to unfold. You look up at the night sky and feel awe at the thought that some of those stars, some of those galaxies are already gone from your reach. They shine, yes, but their future light will never arrive. What you see is their past, a gift already sent long before they crossed beyond the cosmic horizon. The starlight on your eyes is memory itself, a message traveling across oceans of time, arriving only now, before the door closed forever. There is something comforting in this. The universe does not promise you everything. It does not hand you all answers. Instead, it offers glimpses, pieces, partial truths. It invites you to live with the unknown, to rest in the ungraspable.
You are not meant to catch every galaxy. You are meant to cherish the ones whose light still reaches you, however faint. Think of it like standing on a shore at night, watching lanterns drift down a river. Some float past close enough for you to see their shape, their warm glow trembling against the dark water. Others vanish around bends you cannot follow. You do not run after them. You let them go, knowing they belong to distance. The river carries them where you cannot walk. Scientists tell you that billions of galaxies are destined to vanish this way, pulled beyond your cosmic reach. The night sky of a future universe will not look like yours. It will be emptier, lonelier, stripped of the richness you now take for granted. Someday, beings who gaze at the stars may see only their own galaxy and nothing more. For them, the universe will appear smaller, quieter, limited. They will never know what you know now, that the cosmos was once full of lights and voices, stretching in every direction. You hold this perspective gently. It reminds you that you are living in a special time, one where the cosmos is still speaking to you from so many corners. You are surrounded by messages that future eyes will never receive. Every photon that strikes your skin tonight is a privilege. It is the voice of a faraway world saying, "I was here."
And though you know that some voices are forever beyond reach, you feel no panic. You lean into the mystery. The silence does not frighten you. It hums with its own kind of presence, like a blank page that still belongs to the book. What you do not see remains part of the whole, a hidden chapter in the same story. Your own life holds a similar truth. There are questions you will never answer, roads you will never walk, people you will never meet. Some futures will slip beyond your horizon too, and yet, this does not diminish you. It teaches you how to hold what is near, to honor what still glows within reach. The galaxies you cannot catch are mirrors of the moments you cannot hold forever, but in both, there is beauty in the letting go. Rest in this thought. Not everything is for you to hold. Some wonders are meant only to be imagined, their light a promise, never fulfilled. They live on, as possibility, as mystery, as silence. And in silence there is peace. The night grows deeper around you, your breathing slows. You imagine galaxies like sparks, drifting across an endless dark, some nearing you, others sliding away. You do not chase them. You let them fade. Their absence becomes a lullaby, a rhythm of distance, teaching you to rest in what cannot be controlled. Somewhere far away, a galaxy crosses the boundary and vanishes from possibility. Its final light is stretched beyond recognition, carried into eternity. You will never see it. And yet, you close your eyes, knowing that it existed, that for a time, it sang into the vastness. Its song joined the great chorus, even if you only ever hear a faint echo. As you drift into rest, you carry the quiet knowledge that there will always be horizons beyond which your eyes cannot reach. The universe holds its secrets close, not out of cruelty but out of vastness. You are not meant to know it all. You are meant to live within the part you are given, and to wonder at the part that slips away. And so you breathe, gently, evenly, resting in both presence and absence. The light that cannot catch you becomes your companion, reminding you that mystery is part of existence. And you begin to wonder, if light itself can fall behind, what other truths drift just out of reach, waiting in the quiet beyond your horizon. You let your eyes close as you imagine the universe not as it is tonight, but as it will be far beyond your own time. The present is only one verse in a much longer poem. The cosmos does not rush. It unfolds on scales so vast that even billions of years are only pauses between stanzas. You find yourself breathing more slowly as you picture this future, a horizon painted not with stars but with silence. Right now, when you look up at the night sky, you see the past. Each point of light is a messenger traveling across unimaginable distances, telling you what was, not what is. A star, 100 light-years away, shows you its century-old glow. A galaxy 1 billion light-years away shows you a light that left before Earth even dreamed of forests or oceans. But in the deep future, these messengers will fade. The universe is expanding, and dark energy is the conductor of this endless movement. With every moment, galaxies beyond our local group drift farther, slipping into a realm where even their light can no longer bridge the growing gulf. You picture a night sky in the far future,
At first, it may not look very different from your own. A familiar scattering of stars, a calm wash of light, but slowly, over trillions of years, the background thins, stars burn their fuel and go dark. Galaxies slip away until only the closest remain. Eventually, even those will become dim ghosts, unrecognizable shadows of what once was. A future being might stand under the same endless dome and wonder, was there ever more? Was the universe always so quiet? This silence does not mean absence of story. It is simply a new chapter written in different. You think of silence in your own life, the quiet after a long day, the pause after a song ends, the breath between heartbeats. Silence is not nothingness. It is space for reflection. It is the frame around music, giving it shape. The cosmic silence is no different. When the sky grows dark, it does not erase what came before. It preserves it gently in memory. You let this idea settle that one day, the great history of galaxies will be hidden, invisible to future observers. If they look out, they may see only their own small island of stars and think the universe ends there. They will not see the echo of billions of galaxies we know exist. They will not see the expansion. They will not see the fingerprints of the Big Bang scattered across space like faint embers. For them, the silence will be the whole truth. And yet, you feel comfort here, because truth has many layers. Silence carries lessons just as sound does. If those future beings are thoughtful, they may come to understand that absence can also be evident. They may look inward, and instead of finding proof in light, they may find proof in mathematics, in balance, in the very fabric of the laws that guide their world. Silence might not hide the story. It might tell it in a language we are only beginning to understand. Your breath falls into rhythm with this vision. Inhale, the stars that are still burning. Exhale, the dark sky that waits in the distance. Inhale, the glowing arc of galaxies stretching across billions of light years. Exhale, the silence that eventually covers. You feel the balance, like a tide that comes and goes, shaping the shore of time. Dark energy hums quietly beneath these thoughts. It is not a force you can see or touch, but it has written itself into the future. Its role is not destruction, but it creates the spaces between, spaces so wide that light itself cannot cross. And in those spaces, silence grows. But silence, you remind yourself, is not the end of music. It is what makes music possible. Without the pause, without the stillness, the song would lose its shape. Imagine sitting on a quiet hillside as the last fireflies of the season glow and fade. You know their light is temporary, yet the memory of their glimmer warms you even as the night grows still. The universe is the same. Billions of years from now, the galaxies you know will have slipped away, but their memory, their imprint will always be written in the silence. It is like ink invisible to the eye but present on the page, waiting for a different kind of reader. You drift deeper into this reflection. The future sky is not empty. It is layered with meaning. The stars you cannot see are still there, carried beyond your reach. The galaxies you will never touch still dance, even if their music is muted. The silence that fills the sky is not barren. It is a mirror. It reflects back your own thoughts, your own breath, your own need for wonder. You let your shoulders sink, as if the weight of the cosmos were pressing you softly into the bed. The thought of silence does not feel heavy. Instead, it feels spacious, like a room you can stretch in, like a pause that invites rest. The silence of the future is not a void. It is a cradle, and perhaps you think, it is in that cradle where new questions will be born. For what is silence but an invitation? When the sky grows dark, curiosity still flickers. When light fades, imagination continues. Even if future beings see only a quiet sky, their minds may wander beyond it, wondering what lies unseen. And in that wondering, the story continues. You close your eyes more firmly now, drifting with the image of that silent sky. You see yourself standing beneath it, knowing that the silence is not absence, but possibility. You feel your own breathing merge with it, slow, steady, infinite. The universe does not need to shout to be heard. Sometimes it whispers, and sometimes it says nothing at all. Both are part of the same language. Both are part of the same song. And in that song, silence is not the end. It is the waiting place before the next note arrives.
You let the silence settle, feeling its weight and its openness. In the quiet, you sense that time itself has more to reveal, something beyond stars, beyond galaxies, perhaps hidden in the very flow of moments themselves. You breathe in, and the universe breathes with you. The rhythm is steady, unhurried, like a tide that moves without end. In this quiet, your thoughts drift toward questions, those questions that have no easy answers, that open into silence rather than closure. You hold one gently now, dark energy, the silent force that stretches the fabric of space. It is not a riddle to solve tonight. It is a presence, like the night sky itself, vast and ungraspable, yet always surrounding you. The more you try to define it, the more it dissolves into shadows, and so you do not chase it. You let it linger, like a lantern faintly glowing on the horizon, seen but never reached. Some questions do not arrive for resolution. They arrive to remind you of humility, to soften the edges of certainty, to cradle you in wonder. Dark energy is such a question. It does not need your answer. It only asks you to pause, to consider, to accept that not everything unfolds to fit inside your grasp. You think of it as a letter, slipped under the door of existence, sealed without return address. You pick it up, you weigh it in your hand, you know it carries a message, but you do not open it. You keep it safe, as it is. The mystery itself becomes the meaning. Science has given you glimpses. The galaxies stretch apart, their light bends and fades. The very pace of expansion quickens, as though some hidden conductor has whispered the command: faster, wider, farther. This force is not seen, not touched, only inferred from the patterns of stars. And yet, here you are, lying in the quiet of your room, feeling its echo in the silence between your own breaths. It is a reminder that even in all your learning, even in all the structures of human thought, the universe retains its secret. You may chart galaxies, measure their distances, capture their light with mirrors of glass and metal, but you cannot yet hold the essence of this unseen energy. It remains beyond reach, like a bird circling high above the clouds, heard, perhaps glimpsed, but never caught. And maybe that is enough. To know that such mysteries exist is itself a kind of comfort, for it means the story of the universe is not finished. It means there are chapters still unread, sentences still hidden, a narrative that stretches beyond the last page you can see. As you rest deeper into this thought, you notice how your mind softens in its grip. You no longer reach for certainty, you no longer demand an answer. Instead, you allow the unknown to be part of the landscape, like the horizon line at sea, never approached, but always present. There is a peace in not knowing. The mind, so often restless, finds stillness here. For if everything were explained, if every question carried a neat answer, then mystery would vanish, and with it the wonder that stirs your imagination. Dark energy, in its silence, preserves that wonder. You remember that humanity once lived under skies filled with mysteries, the rising of the sun, the pull of the tides, the spark of lightning. Each was once unknowable, and so they became stories, woven into myth, sung into lullaby. Today, science has given you explanations, and yet still, there are questions that linger beyond reach. The universe does not withhold them out of cruelty. It leaves them open as invitations to curiosity, to humility, to awe. And so you cradle this question as you would a delicate shell found on the shore. You do not break it open. You trace its edges. You feel its curves. You marvel that it exists at all. That is enough. Dark energy, a phrase, a placeholder, a name for something beyond name. To speak it aloud is to admit you cannot yet define it, and in that admission you find honesty. It is not weakness to confess you do not know. It is strength, for it means you remain open, awake, willing to listen. The sky above holds countless stars, and yet more are slipping away, carried beyond sight by the very energy you cannot grasp. Each one becomes part of the silence, a story you will never read, but in that silence, you discover something new, that not every story is for you. Some belong only to the universe itself, written in a language you cannot speak, and you rest with that truth. The not knowing becomes a blanket, soft and steady. You wrap yourself in it, and it warms you with its acceptance. What if you were to carry this way of seeing into your own life, to hold questions without forcing them to answer, to let mysteries exist without fear, to sit with silence, without rushing to fill it? In this, you echo the universe itself, which carries mysteries patiently,
without urgency, without need for resolution. You drift further now, the rhythm of your breath slowing. The question of dark energy does not press upon you. It floats beside you like a companion on the road, asking nothing, demanding nothing, simply walking at your pace. There will always be such questions. In science, in life, in the quiet spaces of your own heart. They are not failures of knowledge, they are reminders of depth. They are places where you may pause, look out into the distance, and feel small in the best of ways. Dark energy whispers nothing. Yet in that nothing, you hear something, the reminder that you are part of a universe far larger than yourself, and that wonder does not depend on answers. You let the thought expand, like the universe itself, outward without end. You feel the stretch, the widening, the endless room for more. And in that widening, you feel yourself grow lighter, as though carried on the same current. The night holds you, and the silence deepens. The unopened letter remains, resting in your hand, waiting without urgency. Perhaps one day it will be read, perhaps it will never be. For now it is enough to simply hold it, to know it exists, to trust that mystery itself can be a kind of knowledge. You sink deeper, the edges of wakefulness softening. The questions remain, but they do not trouble you. They are stars in a distant sky, shining without demand. You let them shine, and as your breath slows, as the rhythm steadies, you feel the presence of tomorrow's mystery waiting, quiet, patient and endless.
And you wonder, if questions can be companions, then perhaps the next step is not to answer them, but to listen for what they reveal in silence. You lie back, feeling the weight of your body against the earth, and yet, in the quiet of thought, you also feel the weightlessness of drifting through something immeasurable. The universe is not distant, it folds around you, it cradles you. Its silence and its vastness are not outside your life, they are woven into it. When you look up at the stars, you are not a visitor, you are part of the scene itself, made of the same matter, moved by the same forces. Dark energy, invisible and elusive, seems like a mystery far beyond human touch. But pause and notice, mystery is not something separate. It is what you breathe, what you carry in every heartbeat. The same unseen force that stretches galaxies apart also lingers here, beneath your ribs, where blood flows quietly, where life sustains itself without your command. Just as space expands without needing permission, your body continues its rhythms without needing control. Your place in the vastness begins with noticing this. You are both small and endless at the same time. You are a single human, with one fragile story, and yet your atoms are ancient, billions of years old, born in the fusion fires of stars. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you draw into your lungs, all of it was shaped by cosmic forging. You are not standing beneath the universe, you are the universe, briefly remembering itself. It can feel easy to dismiss yourself as tiny, insignificant, lost in an ocean too large to measure, but insignificance is not the same as absence. The ocean does not diminish the droplet, it makes it whole. Without each droplet, there is no sea. Without you, the universe would not be this universe. A slightly different arrangement of atoms. Yes, but not this exact weave. Your presence alters the story, even if only in quiet ways. When you breathe, you trade with the cosmos. Oxygen once tangled in the leaves of trees moves into your blood. Carbon dioxide you release drifts into the air, later pulled into oceans, into plants, into soil. In this constant exchange, your life is folded into the earth, and the earth is folded into the stars. This is your place, not in separation, but in circulation. You are a pulse within a larger pulse, a rhythm inside a rhythm. The expansion of the universe, driven by dark energy, is not happening out there, like a show beyond your reach. It is happening everywhere, including here. Every cell in your body drifts on that silent tide. You are moving apart from every other galaxy in ways you cannot feel. Even as you sit still, you are part of a motion so vast that no step you take could measure it. And yet, the awareness of it draws you closer to yourself. When you realize how wide the cosmos is, you do not dissolve, instead you deepen. The vastness does not erase you, it frames you. It shows you that to be alive at all, to know that you are conscious, is a miracle standing quietly beside endless distances. The stars may flee, galaxies may vanish beyond view, but the simple fact of your being is already astonishing against that backdrop. Think of the ancient humans who first looked up, long before telescopes, before equations, before words like dark energy existed. They too wondered what their place might be. They traced patterns in the stars, told stories of gods and animals in constellations. They sought belonging in the heavens. You do the same now, though your language has shifted. You find belonging not only in stories but in science, in the understanding that mystery itself connects you to the whole. You are not apart from the mystery of dark energy. You are shaped within. Its silence is also your silence. Its expansiveness is also your breath, moving in and out. Every question you ask, every wonder that flickers through your mind, is another way the universe contemplates itself. If sometimes you feel small, let that smallness be a kind of sanctuary. Smallness is what allows you to be held, like a pebble in a river, like a leaf in the wind. Smallness allows you to rest, to let go of the burden of needing to know everything, to instead float in curiosity. You belong not because you control, but because you exist within something that needs no explanation to embrace you. Your place in the vastness is not earned, it is already given. It was given in the first second after the Big Bang, when the universe surged into being. It was given in the formation of the Milky Way, when stars lived and died, so that the elements of your body could one day form. It was given in the quiet persistence of Earth, circling the sun, holding oceans, holding forests, holding. You are the child of everything that came before, carried here without effort, alive within a mystery that will continue long after. The galaxies will keep moving, the stars will keep shining, then fading. Dark energy will keep writing its silent script across, and still you will have been here, awake enough to notice, still enough to wonder. That is not smallness. It is presence. It is your place. And when you drift into sleep tonight, you do not leave the cosmos behind. You carry it within you. You carry the silence of dark energy in the rhythm of your own stillness. You carry the vastness of stars in the dreams that lift through your mind. The universe moves outward, but you remain within it, a gentle awareness, a brief flame of knowing. You are the drop, you are the ocean, you are the breath, the question, the silence. And as you close your eyes, you sense there is still more, something waiting just beyond the horizon of thought, a truth you cannot yet name, but can almost feel brushing against you, a truth that suggests the story is not ending here, but only folding into another question, another horizon still unseen. Forever is not a number, not a date circled on some distant calendar. Forever is not a clock with hands still moving. Forever is the soft stretch of fabric beneath you, the quiet unfolding of a pattern too large to be seen all at once. When you think of forever, you imagine stillness, but the truth is gentler. It is motion without end, like a tide that never forgets to return. The universe carries this tide. You feel it each time you look up at the sky. Galaxies drift, not hurriedly, not with any sense of rushing, but with a calm, inevitable grace. The space between them grows wider, like fabric being slowly pulled. You are part of that stretch, a thread in that fabric, carried silently without needing to resist. You imagine yourself standing on the edge of time, watching galaxies drift away like lanterns on a river. They shine for a while, then dim, but the river does not stop. It flows, carrying everything with it, even. This is the gentle stretch of forever, the widening of space, the deepening of silence, the ongoing breath of the cosmos. You know by now that this stretching is powered by something unseen, something scientists call dark energy. It is not a force you can touch. It is not a sound you can hear, and yet you live inside it. It cradles you like air you never notice, until you breathe more deeply. Dark energy whispers the universe open, telling galaxies to drift farther, telling the stars to scatter slowly into solitude. Forever feels frightening when you think of it as empty, but here now as you rest in this knowledge, it feels soft. Forever is not emptiness. It is space for stories, even stories that never find their ending. You see that dark energy is not only a mystery, but a kind of lullaby, guiding everything outward, stretching the fabric without tearing it. You recall how the night sky once seemed eternal, crowded with countless stars. But billions of years from now, skies will look different. Galaxies will drift so far that future eyes may not see them. To those beings, The night will look empty, as though the universe is smaller. They will not know what you know now, that the stretching continues, that the lanterns only drifted beyond sight. And yet, even in that future silence, forever remains. It is not erased by distance. It is not dimmed by loss. Forever endures, even when it cannot be seen. You let this realization sink into you, as soft as the rhythm of your own breath. You begin to notice the small mirrors of this cosmic truth in your own life. You think of how days stretch into weeks, how years unfold, how every moment leans gently into the next. You are a universe in miniature, carrying your own kind of expansion. Every thought drifts outward. Every memory stretches behind you like a constellation of your own making. And just as galaxies drift apart, you too have let things drift. People, moments, chapters of your life, they all slide into distance. Some remain visible, bright in your memory, while others grow faint. But the story does not stop, it only widens. You are not diminished by this distance. You are expanded by it. Forever is not something you conquer. It is not something you endure. Forever is something you join. And you have already joined it, without effort, simply by existing, simply by breathing in this moment. You are a thread woven into the fabric, moving with the stretch, carried in the same direction as galaxies. You picture again the galaxies drifting. They are not rushing, not straining. They move with patience, as if forever has given them permission to take their time. You too have permission to take your time. There is no finish line to cross, no final moment to reach before the story runs out. The story does not run out. It stretches, it unfolds, it lingers. Perhaps one day, stars will grow cold, and light itself will thin into silence. Even then the stretch continues. Even then the story of the universe remains. Forever is not about light or dark. It is about the motion that never ends, the gentle widening of what is. You feel small, yes, but not insignificant. You feel yourself inside this vastness, not lost to it. You are not separate from forever. You are part of its shape, part of its song. Each breath you take is an echo of expansion. Each thought is a ripple on the fabric. You are not outside of the story. You are inside it, fully. Forever does not ask for understanding. It does not ask for control. It only asks that you listen. And as you listen, you notice how calm it feels. The fear of endlessness softens into belonging. The thought of eternity becomes not a burden, but a bed. You lie down in it, you rest, you let go. Dark energy continues its quiet work. The universe stretches, galaxies drift farther into the sea of space, and you, like them, drift softly into tomorrow, carried by the same current, folded into the same endless pattern. Forever has no sharp edges. It does not demand, it does not end. It is simply there, like the steady pulse of a heart, like the widening of a breath. You are part of that pulse. You are part of that breath. You are the gentle stretch of forever, and as your eyes close, you carry that thought with you that the universe does not stop, that the story does not end, that you are part of the fabric that unfolds without haste, without end. You breathe in, and forever breathes with you. And in the hush of that breath, you begin to wonder, if forever has no ending, then what is it that truly remains?